Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies, inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, get everything you need in the cloud. Much like Giglio was up in the cloud, filled with vodka. Did you like take residency at Jimmy's in Wrightsville last week? I felt like every time I got a text from you, you were at Jimmy's in Wrightsville Beach having their vodka slushy. You good? You good and pickled? Like, what did you do last week?
I have questions about the Wilmington crew.
Matt Brown, Extra Points, was intrigued by Jimmy's because he's just gotten around to his drinking journey, and I feel like his journey would end if he went to Jimmy's. Like, okay. I can't come back from this one.
I'm just gonna do this because if it's good enough for the ACC network,
okay,
it's good enough for me.
What are you pulling up on the YouTube here?
This is my Sup Crush that I got.
Okay. This is from
Jimmy's.
Okay.
Sup Crush.
What is a Sup Crush?
Oh, Sup Crush is Sup Dogs. They have their own liquor.
Oh, I didn't realize
they have a vodka drink.
Oh, I didn't realize they had their own liquor.
This is the cherry limeade.
Okay. You had a lot of those, is what you're telling me.
No, I actually only had one.
Okay.
Because I started that day with margaritas.
Okay.
At like 10 after 11 or whatever it was. 11,
sounds about right.
Yeah.
You're on vacation.
Our crew in Wilmington is, I got to tell you, man.
So what do you mean? Okay. So when you say this about the crew, what exactly do you mean? What about the Wilmington crew are you talking about?
I'm on vacation.
Okay.
I can have a margarita at 11:15. They were working. And I wasn't the one ordering the pictures of margaritas. Also, big shouts to Tower 7.
Yeah.
The guy who runs a joint and owns a joint. Mm-hmm. Big fan of the show.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm familiar with Tower 7. Great spot.
Mexican place.
Yeah.
Great fish tacos. Mm-hmm. Amazing fish tacos. I told him next time we'll come down and do the show from there.
Yeah. When are we going down there to do the show? Are we having a meeting here?
Yeah, I got to work on that.
What do we got here? We're having a meeting?
Having a meeting. When are we going to, why do you get to go to Wilmington? I don't.
I was at Carolina Beach on Saturday.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
You could still drive your car on Carolina Beach, right?
No.
Or they changed that rule?
No, I'm not taking the CRV on the beach.
No, chill out.
It's shout out to Leo and Lucy. They've had a place there at Carolina Beach by the Sandpiper access.
Okay.
What is it? Lifeguard station, like 27. Anyway, they got a place out that way, so we always park there. It's easier to just drive the extra 30 minutes on our way to Carolina Beach rather than trying to find parking in Wrightsville this time of the year.
Sure.
Good luck on that.
Totally understand.
So, but no, it's the beach. It's the beach lifestyle. This is I think what you are experiencing is what I grew up with.
Okay.
And growing up in Boca Raton, which is, I know people have their thoughts about Boca Raton. There's a lot of money in Boca Raton. You got to remember, I was as middle class as it got with my dad as an IBMer. We lived in a strictly middle class neighborhood, and I could bike to the beach easy enough. And once you cross that bridge, the Camino Real bridge, and you start getting into the fancy parts of town, it's a different lifestyle, man.
Yeah,
a completely different lifestyle. If you hang out in beach towns enough, or for instance, my brother-in-law lived in Nags Head for a while. I'm sorry, no, he lived in Kill Devil Hills, and we would go there in the off season because that's the time to go. And locals are different, man. You're there all the time. So having a picture of margarita at 11 o'clock in the morning, really not that big of a deal.
It's a thing?
It's a thing. All it's not that big of a deal.
Well,
shit, my best friend growing up, I don't think he has any shorts other than board shorts. He's a stay ready all-star. Okay. It might be time to fish. It might be time to surf. He's always in board shorts.
So Jessica wanted to watch the sun rise. Jessica doesn't drink.
Yeah.
So she wanted to watch the sunrise. She's also someone who likes to sleep in.
Okay.
But she was like, hey, we're staying on the beach. I would like to watch the sunrise. I said, fine,
sure.
I made no guarantees, though, that I would get to the sunset. The sunset was at 8:26 that day.
There's no way.
Joe.
There's no way.
This is how I finished my margarita day over at Vito's with a Bud Heavy. I asked the kid working the counter for a Bud Heavy, and he goes, I'm sorry, what? I go, there's Bud Light, and then there's Bud Heavy.
There's just Bud.
And he was like, oh, I've never heard that.
You never heard that?
these kids were living. I could have written a sitcom. Obviously, somebody already did.
Okay.
Or a teen dramedy about the people working at Vito's. There was like 4 of them in there, all in their 20s.
That's funny.
And just slinging pizza and Bud Heavies.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is the life for me. Beautiful.
You would never get anything done at the beach, man.
No. I would fulfill my prophecy of not making it to 70. Yes.
You would definitely not. You would definitely not. Anyway, we actually have we got a full show today.
We got a lot to get into.
We got a lot to get into today.
I feel like
we actually
the start of the second act. Hamilton. What did I miss? What is this Mike Lombardi stuff that I missed?
We actually do have a lot to get into today. Kenton Gibbs, Locked On ACC, Locked On Wolfpack is going to hang out with us in studio. As is Paul Strand. Paul owns a youth hockey organization in the area called the North Carolina Golden Bears. Along with the Golden Bears, you've got the Raleigh Raptors and you got the Carolina Junior Canes. Y'all know about the Junior Canes because I talk about the Junior Canes all the time since my kid plays for them and I'm going to manage again this upcoming season. But Paul's a guy that I've known for a long time and has got a lot of ties to the area. Ice cap legend, by the way. And kind of like with the World Cup and the Olympic tournament with hockey, there's all this conversation about these big events and what it means for youth hockey. What we saw with the Olympics and the Four Nations tournament, the Carolina Hurricanes winning a Stanley Cup. So I thought Paul would be a good person to kind of chat with about where things are right now and what needs to happen next for things like youth hockey to continue to grow, which is directly tied with the success of the Carolina Hurricanes. And because he had a very interesting minor league career, I have a feeling that we're going to go down a minor league rabbit hole.
It's a great
just a hunch,
man. It's a great resume.
Just a hunch. But because there's a lot to get into, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get right into a lightning round to start the show. It's the lightning round. After seeing The Odyssey, I'm kind of disappointed that we did not get an AI broad version of Zeus after watching The Odyssey.
Okay.
Very, very upset about that. Odyssey, very good. I would highly recommend you go see it, Joe, if you haven't seen it yet. Let's actually start with the politics of college sports. Since we last left you late Friday, we got the ultimate pivot with the SEC and the Big Ten voting to support a congressional college sports bill after they had been rejecting the last couple of days. So late Friday, we get the news that they're on board with this. I figured you'd appreciate this. This is from Ross Dellinger's Yahoo Sports explanation. Thursday night and Friday's negotiations between lawmakers and the power leagues, plus Notre Dame, because for some reason we have to include Notre Dame in these things, resulted in the addition of language to the bill that intended to strengthen a provision that prohibits schools from circumventing the athlete revenue share cap. I know you're rolling your eyes. What does this all mean? There are other components to this that actually do make a lot of sense, right? They've limited antitrust exemptions to re-implement a one-time transfer exception, standardize a 5-year eligibility policy, which put a pin in that, ban professional athletes from returning to college, establish an agent registry and a maximum fee. And again, the big thing, the revenue share cap. This essentially, if I can break this down in the easiest way possible, I'm just going to read directly from Ross Dellinger, who does a very, very good job of putting it succinctly. Opposed to collective bargaining and employment, which again, easier solution. College sports leaders are working to establish a harder cap like the NFL as opposed to the current state of affairs where schools are exceeding the $21.3 million cap in some cases by triple that amount by redirecting sponsorship and apparel cash from the athletic department to their roster. According to the bill, all athlete deals with university contracted businesses, associated entities, such as multimedia rights partners, corporate sponsors, and apparel brands would be included in a school's revenue share payment and count against that cap. You are looking from a cap that was around $22 million, bumping up to nearly $50 million. Now, the legislation does keep open an opportunity for, as they call them, authentic deals to take place. That would have to go through that CSC, which apparently got Mike Lombardi in trouble, according to reports, which again, put a pin in that. That'll come up later in Lightning Round. So that's where things are now. It seems that with the Big Ten and the SEC jumping on board and some other provisions in the bill, that it actually will get through the Senate. But of course, that's just one step. I don't really have to go through Schoolhouse Rocks to explain. There's a couple more steps along the way. And even if it gets all the way to the president to be signed, my guess is there will be lawsuits, because the last thing I'll say about this, I'll get back to Ross's point, opposed to collective bargaining. All these things that they want to do have no input from the players. All these things that they want to do are restrictions, basically just made up restrictions to keep the labor cheap, rather than actually going in and collectively bargaining with the players who are looking for a share of this. There's also, you could put a hard cap all you want and bump it up to 50 million. You're telling me that schools that have the Cody Campbells of the world aren't going to find ways to circumvent that even further and drive the price of the brick even more towards an unsustainable ceiling. So this all sounds good, and they all these people in charge will feel like they've accomplished something, but it's nowhere near complete because of lawsuits and obviously ways to circumvent this, because that is just the fuel of college athletics.
Well, from the school's perspective, number one, they're trying to codify this legally so that the lawsuits can't be won.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand it from that perspective. I want you to understand why they don't want to make them employees, though. And I want you to understand that they're willingly now saying, I will more than double our revenue share here, because they ultimately do not want to open their books up. That's all. That's what this is about. They have no interest in collectively bargaining. They want, the hand of God, right? What's his Chekhov's gun. That's what they want.
Mm-hmm.
They're writing their own story, and they want to be able to control everything, even if it doesn't make any sense in the plot, right? And that's what's happening here. They're begging Congress to use Chekhov's gun here. And if I were the colleges, I would take the same stance. Of course I would, because even doubling your revenue share, you're still not opening your books. You're still not making them employees. You're still not having a true, as you said, market value.
Yeah.
And it also protects you from what the current situation is. The market continues to go up, been up, been up, been up.
Well, but that's the thing that I feel I have to strongly point out, in that the entire sauce that goes into college athletics are the Cody Campbells of the world that will find ways to challenge the system.
But we've seen this in the Los Angeles Clippers and Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
This is going to exist. We saw it back in the day. We see it right now with the fucking Dodgers, dude. Honestly.
We'll get to that.
Deferred money is essentially the same freaking thing.
I believe they already have.
Ridiculous.
I believe the Dodgers already have like $100 million in deferred money for a roster that doesn't even exist yet.
Yeah. It's more than that.
In like 2030 or whatever it is.
So there's a reason you outlaw drugs. People are still going to do drugs or guns or whatever you want to outlaw. It's always going to happen. You're just trying to control it the best that you can. And the reason you make a law or make rules is to try to control it the best that you can. Are people going to cheat? Of course.
Of course they are.
People always did cheat. Let's not act like people didn't cheat before. They're continue to cheat. They'll continue to find ways. The enforcement part of it, what you're saying, is kind of the most interesting part of it to me in this sense. The self-governance, no governance, this, that, the other.
Yeah, Jim Phillips at ACC kickoff, right?
Like if Miami can go and steal Duke's quarterback, if Mississippi can go steal in Clemson's linebackers with impunity, then you already have no governance. So this I'm interested in the Lombardi case in Carolina potentially, if they are being this CSC, if they are truly trying to enforce something.
Well, we talked to Matt Brown at Extra Points about this last week, and there's really no enforcement,
right?
Because as he pointed out, the schools, the leagues, have signaled to the CSC, we will sue you if you try to enforce this.
And that's where we are with this tampering. Like Dabo can bitch and moan, and Pat Narduzzi can bitch and moan, and Mac Brown can bitch and moan.
They can bitch and moan all they want, but that's also how they get their players for the transfer portal too. Okay.
Right.
So this all gets back to the central premise of a lot of your problems would be resolved if, rather than going to Congress, rather than going to DC to get these things codified, as you said, so that makes it more difficult to sue. Right. Look, how many times does the NCAA have to go to the Supreme Court and get their ass handed to them?
Every time.
So yes, you're right. It gets codified. However, it can still move up the chain and be fought, is my point.
Not in this political climate. No,
But the political climate changes all the time,
it
too.
does.
Okay. We don't know how things are going to look in 2
This
years.
is their window to get it done.
This is the
their
window
window to get it done. Literally, this is their window to get it done.
Now, I don't think it's going to happen because I think, as with all things, it's going to get gummed up in the works as it goes through the system, right? All the solutions to their problem are in collective bargaining. You don't want players to freely move around. You have a contract that you can enforce. Ole Miss doing what Duke did with Darian Mensah last week. I'm going to sue these guys that went to LSU because you had these contracts. Again, all things that can be collective bargaining. And that's why I don't think it's going to move through all the way, because you're making all these restrictions on movement. You're making all these restrictions on free market without any player input. And the players are already now getting the money. So you're going to have to find a way to include them, which is not involved in any way, shape, or form in what I'm seeing right now. See what I'm getting at? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of where we're at. I'm still pessimistic, even though there was all this huff and puffing last Friday night and into the weekend about what this all means. It might not mean anything because it's only gone through one step. Congrats to the Big Ten and the SEC for finally getting on board, right?
Yeah.
And we haven't even discussed
Shakespearean, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
I mean, we haven't even discussed the arbitrary 19-team conference cap that's apparently included in this.
I'm not going to waste any oxygen on some of these
with
rules.
A 5-year independent rule. You got to be independent for 5 years. Like,
and again, who enforces that?
Who enforces that?
It's one of my favorite Debbie Yao stories.
Yeah.
Remember when they expand the ACC came out with this edict? You have to play an extra game against a power conference team.
Yeah.
And I remember her, Debbie was very protective of the football schedule.
I know.
She wanted to make sure Dave got to a bowl. She wanted to make sure back in the day, it's very colloquial now to have the extra practice, continuity, develop your team, Very sensitive to when they would play certain teams out of the league. So when the ACC came in and said, hey, you got to play a power conference opponent, one of the things I said to her was, I said, why don't you just play Virginia or Duke? Right? Counts. And she was like, well, we've talked a little bit about that, but she lined up like Mississippi State. She tried to line up the most innocuous possible power conference opponents, right? I said, oh, by the way, what would happen if you didn't schedule Texas Tech or you didn't schedule West Virginia? What's the league going to do? She's like, that's a really good question. And then I went back and I asked our friend A.B. Cole, I go, what is the punishment if a team doesn't line up a power conference opponent? Well, we haven't really laid that out yet.
It's vibes.
Oh,
just vibes. We would like you to do this.
Okay.
No enforcement whatsoever. Sticking with the mechanics of college athletics from our friends Brendan Marks and Ralph D. Russo over at The Athletic, judge grants injunction giving class of 2022 athletes a 5th year of NCAA eligibility. A U.S. District Court judge in Colorado granted a preliminary injunction that gives college athletes from the high school class of 2022 another year of eligibility in the coming school year. This is after the NCAA approved an age-based eligibility rule, and they had to start it somewhere, right? They had to start it somewhere, and rather than doing the easy thing and just grandfathering in this last class to get their 5th year, they said, no, you're not included in this. Obviously, they brought out a lawsuit. There is a theory out there that the NCAA decision makers wanted to be sued in this situation so that they could then use that in Congress as a, hey, see, look.
We keep losing these lawsuits.
Like, we got to codify this thing. That's why we need our 5-year rule, right? Because of things like this. This, of course, has opened up recruitment opportunities for class of 22 guys. I mean, shit. I was at Inside Carolina and Tar Heel 24/7 earlier today saying, hey, Michael Malone, the minute this happened, is out here recruiting a guy who's now suddenly eligible for this upcoming basketball season. It is August 3rd, and they're still piecing together basketball rosters across the country, right?
Well, you know who the big winner is here because he has no players on his team.
Oh, boy.
Look at this one-word Hall of Fame.
Wait. I thought he had a roster.
No. But
we're talking about Will Wade.
Will Wade, LSU. The one-word Hall of Fame is no team. But guess who all just got eligible? All the players that he hated from this year's NC State team. Darian Williams is going back to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
But wait. Wait, I finally have to do this because again, it's up to me to be the bad guy always.
Yeah, I'm going to remove that. I'm actually on LSU's page right now.
Okay.
They've got 4 players?
4. 4.
Okay.
So, hold on. Let me bring it back up because
I was going to say
the great joke.
I was going to put it back in there for you.
The great joke that hasn't been made that I'm very disappointed in everybody in is this right here. Our friend Dennis Horner's burner. LSU, it shows up one of the players shooting in an empty gym.
Yeah.
LSU can't even practice. The rest of the country has been practicing for weeks. All LSU can do is run shooting drills because they have 4 players. This is a player shooting at the top of the key, not even in LSU gear, just shooting. You know what he's doing, Joe? He's practicing against Will Wade's defense.
Hey!
That's what's happening down at Baton Rouge. So there's your big winner is Will Wade because he can bring back all the players that he didn't like at NC State this season to go lose more games in confounding fashion at LSU where they will play no defense.
Yes.
I hate all of this, honestly. The football players that they're trying to bring back, they were like, well, there's players in CFL and NFL camps. And it's like, no, dear Lord. I know that the judge came back and said, no, those people can't come back, but everybody else can come back. And it's like, why are you doing this?
You're talking about obvious jokes.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Let's go to a 910.
Joe's, Zach, wanted your opinion, settle the debate. Would it be funnier now that we have this injunctive relief for 5th years to come back and play their last year? Would it be funnier for Van Allen Lubin to come back to the Carolina Tar Heels, or would it be funnier for him to complete the triumvirate and then go over to Duke? Thanks.
Go back.
You gotta touch them all.
Yeah.
Come on now. Come on, Van Allen.
4 schools in 4 years. He has to go somewhere else. Has to. I think NC State actually has some interest, but
bringing him back? Okay.
Don't forget.
Will Wade.
The GM
Will Wade too.
Same guy.
That's right. It's the same guy.
He was the one player who did try hard every game.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah,
this is true. So yeah, Van Allen Lubin, man, look, you have an opportunity to do the greatest thing ever. Go to Duke. Come on, touch them all.
Unfortunately for him, I don't think Duke wants him. But
at the point, if I'm John Shire, I just get him on the bench just because
of all the success he had at both of those schools.
Well, okay.
If you want your season to end in Dayton, go get Van Allen Lubin.
You know what? When you put it like that, maybe not.
There are many topics for lightning round today on OMG.
Now let's take a break from topics that have direct impacts on the teams that we talk about here locally and talk about the hottest take generator of 2026. Now, we've had a lot of things to have hot takes about, but I believe that the Los Angeles Dodgers getting Tarek Skubal from Detroit for 3 prospects for yet another run at back-to-back World Series has created the hottest of hot take machines. Now, my hottest take possible, as I'm coming to find out, this is not an original thought as much as I thought it was. I am convinced that all other Major League Baseball teams who easily could have put a package together like this to get Skubal for whatever playoff run that they thought they were going to have, they easily could have matched what the Dodgers did. But they chose not to, because if the Dodgers got Skubal, it would be another example of the rich getting richer. And what does Major League Baseball want, Joe? They want a salary cap. And by poisoning the well with something like this, I'm accusing them of colluding.
Yeah.
Is exactly what I'm saying.
It's not a hot take. It's a reality. It happened in the offseason. Kyle Tucker magically is on the Cubs and then was like, hey, I'm going to go with the Dodgers. All the good free agents were like, hey, including the relief. They had no relievers. Now, the one got hurt. It's fine. But it was like they were all doing this last offseason. The deferred payments are bullshit. That needs to be fixed.
Okay, now
that's total bullshit.
There's a separate conversation about the deferred payments. Okay, separate conversation about that. But these are teams actively
saying
not competing.
Correct.
And
it started this offseason.
This is a bigger problem than luxury taxes, hard cap, salary floors, everything else. Okay. These are teams telling their fan bases, we would rather lose to get to this financial situation that benefits us and us only because we just can't help ourselves. No, you're making a choice. You are actively choosing to not be competitive. That's fucked up. I don't know how else to put it. And I get what you're saying about deferred money. I get that the Dodgers have a type of owner that has no problems dropping $500 million on a roster with that deferred money. But you can too, okay? You can too.
Right. But remember the last time that someone did this, they were doing it because they had a Ponzi scheme paying them off.
There's that too.
I just don't trust any of this shit.
Oh no, the deferred money issue, I do think is a separate conversation to be had about who ends up paying that bill.
I was going to say, talk about circumventing the
right.
Well, there is no cap.
There's no cap.
Listen, the Dodgers baseball, the majority. I send you all these clips under this specific premise.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about baseball coming to the state of North Carolina. We and other people who are interested in seeing North Carolina. And it's become a news generator story, speaking of hot takes.
It is.
Do you know what you never hear from in any of those stories? You'll hear from Scott Dupree. You'll hear from Dane Huffman. You'll hear from whoever telling you, oh, wow. Or our friends at Pack Insider who love.
Shout out to Lou.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lou.
Who are
MLB
part of the 919.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, look at all these stats. Look at all this. You never hear anything from baseball itself. And it's not because they're not interested in the state of North Carolina. It's because they've completely tabled expansion while they try to solve this salary cap issue. And I'm going to say this, number one, they need to, much like hockey does, they need to have a floor. If you have a cap, you have to have a floor.
I agree with the floor.
To your point about these other teams and why aren't you doing it? The Pirates have been suckling off of the teat of the Dodgers, Red Sox, Mets, and Yankees for far too long. The Royals as well.
Marlins.
The A's, the Marlins, all of those small market teams that we can just go down the list. And the A's obviously will be in Vegas soon enough. But this is now the culmination of, let's be very clear and honest of what this is. Baseball, for the longest time, had the strongest union thanks to Marvin Miller. This goes back to the 70s. Okay. The makeup of baseball's demographics were mostly white. And then the blacks in baseball were, I think, peaked up in the 40s, maybe even 50%. It was pretty high. The demographics of baseball have completely changed. And they're all white owners. There's no black owners in baseball, is there? Are there?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of one. But
if there are, there's one.
It's not the point that you're making is something that has been going on for over a decade now, in that you are identifying poor Dominican players.
Correct.
Like,
the demographic has changed to the point where they believe, the owners now believe, that the makeup of the players and their labor force
they can get over
has changed to the point where they can get over on them.
Yes. I agree with you.
And now we will see how this plays out. Because I believe baseball needs a salary cap, or if nothing else, a luxury tax apron that we see in the NBA.
Yes.
But I also strongly believe that hockey has this right, in that I don't care if you have a cap, but you got to have a floor to make sure these other teams are not just living in a welfare state and signaling to their cities, I don't want to be competitive.
That's okay. This is where I think you and I will agree. The floor is the thing. Okay. As we found out in hockey, there are ways to game the salary cap itself.
Yeah.
We talk about this in the NFL. I always say, much like birds, the NFL salary cap, not real. Okay. The salary cap is something that sounds good. It makes people feel good, but there are ways to circumvent the cap. There's all sorts of ways to do it. Okay. And we're seeing what's the NHL. Do we really think that $18 million contracts are a sustainable thing in the NHL? Do we think that's the case?
No.
Of course not. However, the biggest blight on professional sports are team owners, as you said, that are suckling from the teat of the rich teams. It is really an economic system that so many people get on TV and say they don't want, but they benefit from all the time, where you get to take from them and you don't put any investment into actually winning because you're simply trying to drive the profits for yourself. The floor is the thing. If they can get a salary floor in Major League Baseball and spare me the Tampa Bay Rays, we're going to find all sorts of ways to reinvent the wheel here. Now we're talking. But I think the Pirates are probably the biggest culprit in all of this. Forever and
The
ever.
McClatchies. Yeah.
Forever and ever and ever. So give me a floor. The cap, I can take or leave the cap, but the floor is the thing.
This will be the fascinating turning point for me, how this goes. The Dodgers won the World Series last year. Remember, they barely beat the Toronto Blue Jays on 3 astronomically difficult defensive plays that had to go down to the millisecond.
You notice how we also
for them to be right.
You also notice how we bring up the Dodgers all the time because they've actually won back-to-back World Series, and that's all we remember. They don't remember that part. You know who else lights money on fire and can't win shit?
The Mets.
And it's not a Ponzi scheme.
No.
Okay. Steve Cohen's not running a Ponzi scheme. Last time I checked, that man's lighting money on fire and they can't win. So the money's not the problem. The money is not the problem.
It's a lack of a willingness to compete by certain teams. I thought it started this offseason. I think this is a naked. I'm just asking how this plays out.
Okay.
Right? They have Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell, the Dodgers, on ice right now. Like not even using them. So you add those two, Ohtani and Skubal, into the postseason. They shouldn't lose. But that's not always how baseball works. I'm fascinated to see how this plays out. I don't know if there's another team that, the Red Sox are hotter than a pistol right now, including a sweep of the Dodgers. The Red Sox are the best team in baseball right now. But you could have picked a different month every month last year. The Blue Jays, the Brewers, the Mariners all took turns last year.
The Red Sox were left for dead earlier this
getting
year.
hot, right? And even going into playoffs, I'm like, I don't know if the Dodgers are going to do it. And then Ohtani put his dick on the table in the playoffs, and you were like, oh yeah, you got that guy. I kind of sort of forgot you had that guy. But I'm fascinated to see how it plays out this year. If I'm the Dodgers, I almost didn't want Skubal. You know what I mean? Like you have plenty of pitching. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. The Dodgers are now plus 150 to win the World Series. Minus 110 to win the National League.
That's insane.
And considering the Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Atlanta, these are all serious, even San Diego, I would argue.
The Cubs got good too.
The Cubs have a good team too.
Come on now.
But
Anyway.
I think it's fascinating to see how this plays out. This will be the ultimate test of baseball is baseball.
You're right.
In terms of the on-field product.
On the field, but to get back to the off-field, to circle us back to the beginning of this, don't be fooled by what Major League Baseball owners are trying to do here. They want you to buy into the Dodgers being the bad guy.
Oh, we can't.
They are not. The Dodgers are not the bad guy.
Oh.
It's everybody else who doesn't want to compete that's the bad guy.
Topics, stack it up. Giglio's roll back it up. Well, I know what we'll do. A lightning round.
The Roback ad now if you want. This is my new. They've really gotten into these classic looks of the polos. This is just a stripe. I love it. I feel like I remember last year when I discovered their solids. I was like, I found uranium or something. I was like, what is this?
How did they do this?
How'd they do it?
How is that possible?
So yes, I've had a couple different people text me. What's your promo code? It's OG20. Use our promo code OG20. Save 20% on your initial purchase from Roback. They also don't mind if you're a repeat customer. You create yourself a new Gmail, and you can use that promo code again.
They don't mind, huh?
They don't mind.
Okay.
They just want your business.
Of course.
They got all.
We want that.
Now, in addition to the plain classics, let's not call them plain, Giglio. Classics. In addition to these classic styles, they have come out with some new NC State and UNC ones, including ones that are coming up.
Yeah, they just
for all of the fans waiting for the Slobbering Wolf to be featured on Roback. I will just say to you, it's coming this winter.
Oh, that's very exciting.
It is.
Very, very exciting. People will be very, very hype about that. So use that promo code OG20. Again, that's roback.com. Use the promo code OG20.
And checks notes. It's not a meeting.
We're having a meeting.
It's not a meeting.
We're having a meeting already as we're like live meeting here.
Okay, we're checking on that date.
Okay, good.
I believe we will be going to Charlottesville the last week of August to do a show from the Roback Studios.
Good, because I'm going to spend that time in a designer's room telling them exactly what they need to do.
Okay.
It's like, I get you guys have a successful business. I get all that stuff, but I got thoughts. Back to the lightning round. Speaking of owners and being skeptical or the bad guy, shout out to Tom Dundon, who continues to just stoke those flames in Portland, man. I will say this. And this is a clip that you sent me, and we're actually starting to get more of this as it relates to the Portland Trail Blazers and Tom Dundon. Why did they sell to Tom Dundon if we know what Tom Dundon's MO is? And I think we're finally getting around to the thing that I've been banging the table now for weeks, maybe even months. If these NBA folks just took a step back and, I don't know, fired up Google and looked up Tom Dundon, Carolina Hurricanes, and how his ownership track has happened from since he's taken over to winning the Stanley Cup, all the things that are happening in Portland happened here locally. Now, different governments, different economics, all that kind of stuff. But the playbook is the same. And we're now starting to get to some NBA insiders going, wait a minute. This guy's is what he is. So why did they sell to him? Now, Bill Simmons has re-entered the chat.
Oh, well, after he put the knee pads on, we're now back in the chat.
Yeah, now Bill Simmons is back in the chat. And now Bill Simmons is saying, well, what we're coming to find out is, I'm paraphrasing Bill Simmons here, is that the reason why they sold to Tom Dundon is that there was no interest in buying the Portland Trail Blazers.
That tracks.
And I would say that tracks. And now they're stuck with the situation.
As if the Allen family needed to sell.
I know.
That part of it is the part.
I mean, honestly, the biggest mistake was selling the building to the city for whatever it was that they sold it to.
$1, I think it was.
I think it was. Anyway, all this to say, I know locally nobody cares about the Portland Trail Blazers in the sense of like, what does this have to do with the Carolina Hurricanes? Well, we know what Dundon's MO is in terms of like, we think this is your value. We're going to do this. Literally. Chop. Tom Dundon chop. Business Tom. Business Tom has entered the chat with Alexander Nikishin.
Oh,
I want to wrap something up from last week because I was actually texting with Adam like Thursday or Friday. And I said, hey, look, dude, I get it's July. I was kind of banging on Adam a little bit. I was like, can you explain to me why you're like nonstop fucking tweeting about Nikishin in July? Like, am I missing something? What am I missing? Like, honestly, what am I missing? It's like, well, the agent wants X amount. And Nikishin, there was an interview where somebody
gave the Russian interview.
He did the Russian interview and translated when somebody asked him, like, well, this contract, is you looking for this? And he goes, more. Well, of course. I would imagine that the 24-year-old Russian guy prospect, his calendar is a little bit different than a younger guy in terms of what do you want for that next contract and things like that as he's now a restricted free agent. Yeah, I would expect him and the agent to want more. Shit, look at the freaking contracts that are getting handed out. You're going to want more. I totally understand that. The cap's going up, all that kind of stuff. But I texted with Adam. I'm like, what am I missing here, man? He goes, well, there's been some activity. The trade conversations have started back up again. I'm like, okay. So I just needed to get that context. But here's where I'm at with Nikishin. You tell me if I'm off base on this one. While there are some nuances between Natchez and Nikishin and how we get to this point with a bridge deal and a potential trade and everything else, I'm at the point with Nikishin where unless he holds out or there's a threat of a holdout, I am not really raising an eyebrow with the day-to-day machinations of contract negotiation between Nikishin's camp and the Canes. The Canes clearly feel that Nikishin is worth X amount of value, especially with the drop-off from the regular season production to his postseason production. And while there is a consideration that he was concussed early in the postseason, you'll ask anybody over there, hey, is there a correlation? Like, no, 100% healthy. Otherwise, why is he even out there? He's 100% healthy. And as the postseason continued, what did we see with Nikishin? We started seeing more and more what you would call protected minutes out of Nikishin, and his production wasn't there. So this does not bode well for Nikishin in negotiations with the Dundon because they're going to be like, hey, as we progressed and things got harder, you weren't exactly producing.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're going to dump it on. That's what they're going to dump it on. But Nikishin seems to be playing a different kind of hardball with the agent and what he wants. And that's why I say up until we get to an act, like when camp starts up, if Nikishin's not on the ice, then I know we actually got a real thing.
Something tells me Eric Tulsky was on his P's and Q's with the contract.
Mm-hmm.
That says if you don't show up, you can be fined. Something tells me.
Something like that.
I suspect also there are deals with when you go from a Russian team that you pay reparations.
Uh-huh.
So that's why he's trying to get more money, because I think a part of it goes back to the KHL team. I don't know that for a fact. That's
there is that
there's
element in
something in I would guess that there's something in there that involves that. He as a restricted free agent with no he can't be offer sheeted. He's not part of his.
There's no arbitration.
Options. There's nothing. He has zero leverage.
None other than holding out.
So yeah, but even if you hold out, you don't make money.
I get that.
So then your agent then is floating you money, and your agent can pay you or not. I don't listen. He has no leverage. He also needs to understand the business, Tom, aspect of all of this.
Yes.
You have a number, which is fine. If you think your number could be better somewhere else, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But understand this: Jacob Slavin, the best defenseman in the NHL, missed 3 months last year.
Mm-hmm.
The Carolina Hurricanes were in first place without the best defenseman in the NHL. They will not blink twice at putting you on ice for 3 months. That doesn't mean he doesn't have value. I'm not diminishing what he is. In fact, he's at that horny on Main Street level of his value might actually be more right now than it might ever be.
Which is why you should just go ahead and trade him, because you're never going to pay him more than Jacob Slavin. You're not going to pay him more than Keandre Miller.
Well, there's more of your problem is Miller, because Slavin's at the end already made his deal, made his retirement deal. Essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, the deal that will take him to his retirement, probably likely. It's, just as you just said about Macklin Celebrini and 18 million and how sustainable is this? And you would say for Celebrini, absolutely. But the jabroni from the Ducks, you're like, wait a second, what happened?
Right.
And there's your offer sheet kind of coming into play. I think the Hurricanes will play this out much like they did with Natchez.
They're going to trade him.
I believe they will maximize what they can. Of course, there are longtime Hurricanes fans. Actually, you got to go back to the Whalers days with Chris Pronger.
Oh, geez.
Defensemen take a little bit longer sometimes.
Yeah. Pronger went on to be a Hall of Famer.
Or Ottawa fans with Chara, when you're like, whoa. Wait, we had that and we got what to show for it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So there is always that thought.
Of course there is.
That a defenseman takes a little bit longer. But I'm with you. At his age, he's a little bit more of a finished product.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. I think
that's the thing. Thank you. He is more of a finished product than people want to admit.
Yes.
That's the
Chris
thing.
Pronger had a drinking problem.
Well,
and so he had to play through that. That's what I'm saying. He cleaned up his life.
No, I know.
And he became one of the best players in the league.
Yeah,
to the point where when they made the Stanley Cup final, Chris Pronger was the best player on Edmonton. And that's who they had to play against. And people were like, wait a second, shouldn't he be on this team? And it's like, well, hey guys, here's what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Nikishin, they will play it out the way that we've seen it with Natchez, the way that we've seen it with other players. They know his value. They know his number. Nikishin has zero leverage.
None.
Zero.
We've got a lot to get to. It's a lightning round.
I do. We haven't done lightning round in a hot minute. I got to ask Brian for some.
We got to update because we have a new sponsor coming on at the end of August.
We do.
For the lightning round, and we're going to need some. I have some ideas. I know he doesn't like.
No, Brian.
No, creative genius.
Brian actually likes the ideas.
Oh, okay.
No, Brian.
There's certain songs that I hear on the radio, I'm like, ooh.
No, Brian actually likes the ideas.
If you
give Brian the direction, he will absolutely try
use
to
one of those.
He will absolutely do that. All right, last item, because I don't know how much time we want to spend on this, because we spent a lot of time on it last week. Again, from The Athletic, shout out to Brendan Marks. North Carolina's Michael Lombardi, quote, ready to clear his name.
Okay.
After retaining attorney. This is the same attorney. Guy's name is Tom Mars, who has a history of representing college sports folks. I think most recently he was tied to Trinidad Chambliss and his exit from Ole Miss and all that kind of stuff. So, as you know, Lombardi was placed on paid administrative leave last Monday. The school's not going to talk about it.
Except when they do.
Lee Roberts can just come off looking really, really bad. And it's a disgrace that we're not talking about the student athletes and we have to talk about this. And you're paying the guy $1.5 million to be the GM. And this is a story. Sorry. This is the quote from Mars in the statement. Michael has not been told anything about the nature of UNC's investigation and welcomes the opportunity to clear his name, which has already been sullied by baseless statements and innuendo on social media. Look, I get that the lawyer's got a lawyer, but the idea that Lombardi's name has been sullied because of this, no, I can make the argument that Lombardi had a reputation when he took that job. And I don't think this really, all this does is crystallize it for some folks that he's under this investigation. We'll see what happens. It's like a 30-day process. We got this announcement last Monday. For Carolina's sake, I'm sure they want this to be resolved in some form or fashion so they can get back to focusing on football. Or do they? I mean, I don't know, because like we'll talk about with Kenton, I don't even know what this Carolina team is really.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at with Michael Lombardi. They're going to clear his name. He wants this to be done. Blah, 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 blah. That's where we're at.
This feels like the beginning of the steps to build the case against Bill Belichick and to minimize the amount of money that he will be paid to go away.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like to me. I don't know if it's a Title IX case. I don't know if it's an HR complaint.
We don't know.
No,
we don't. Based on the reporting, it's an HR complaint from a former staffer.
Sure. But I don't. Is that a Title IX case?
I don't know.
Is it something else? I don't know. I don't know all of these things. Okay.
We got the CSC component of it too.
I mean, you have to be a real piece of Samsonite to get caught by the CSC for anything.
Right.
Right.
But
But
we talked about with Matt Brown last week. Either you got some paperwork wrong and they're just like, hey, you didn't do this right. Can you
Right.
fix it? We're good. Or y'all are, because UNC's not the first one to have something like this come up. So
this is where having 70 guys leave after last spring could potentially come back to bite you, because if you don't pay the players what they were promised, guess who gets disgruntled? This is how the SMU thing unraveled back in the 80s, man.
ding, ding, ding.
There are no new ideas. History just repeats itself. So that could be a whole different angle.
We'll see.
I felt like, and I really hate myself for this, Joe.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do. We had a conversation with Steve Newmark, independent of all of this, before any of this came out to light.
Yeah.
About accountability and Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, that was at the heart of what I was asking Steve Newmark.
Fair.
I took this as a positive step for Steve Newmark and Carolina for holding Belichick and his camp accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And you might say, well, it's a university issue. The way Carolina is structured now, everything's the university.
Fair.
Steve Newmark works for the university. He doesn't really work for athletics. He works for the university. Got to get that in your head. Well, the statement came from Dean Stoyer, right? Oh,
Yeah.
hey, that's university. No, dude, the whole thing's been restructured over there.
It has been.
The whole world has been restructured over there. And ultimately, drum roll, the university is on the hook for all of the money that they have invested in Bill Belichick. As I pointed out to Steve Newmark, you've made this investment in this man. He has to be held accountable. I can envision a scenario where they told Lombardi whatever was going on, and Belichick said so.
Right.
Like, shrug.
Right.
And they were like, no. And you could have seen last year if something like this had happened, they would have been like, no, Bill gets to do whatever Bill wants to do. This feels like the first step in them saying to Bill, no, not acceptable. Now, why putting together a terrible roster that was awful and won 4 games wasn't enough to say,
because Bill's not going to do anything about it.
because A, Bill wasn't going to do anything about it. B, it's not cost effective.
No.
You can sit here and puff your chest like I just did and say, hey, we're going to get rid of you. You suck at your job. Oh, cool. My contract says you still owe me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think this is more of a calculated move by Newmark, by Roberts, to sustain and protect themselves from how this ultimately ends with Bill Belichick.
Why do you think it got dropped on a Monday?
Yeah.
That's why.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping is brought to you by Inovana. Check them out online at inovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Inovana.
News, ladies and gentlemen. OG Light, OG Lime gets canned this week.
Let's go.
My understanding is that Bond Brothers will be canning OG Light and OG Lime on Thursday. Should be available for purchase at Bond Brothers on Friday, and then it starts going out to our participating locations like P Street Market,
Yes.
our friends over at Longleaf. Beer Study out in Durham should be getting another re-up. I think Glass Jug out in the RTP, they'll be getting some as well. So yeah, be on the lookout. OG Light and OG Lime will be back on shelves soon. I enjoyed some OG Limes at the beach on Saturday.
Hey, you had a secret stash, huh?
I did have a secret stash. I had one last 4-pack in the fridge.
One last time.
Speaking of stashes, big thanks to Mikey P and the Secret Stash. Head on over to the OG.shop. Again, that's the OG.shop. Mikey P's got all sorts of...
Bring up the new stuff, man.
I'm doing that right now.
College. I was very
you
proud
got
of this
Bulldogs and Niners and Eagles and Seahawks and Camels and Go Apps, Deacons and Clemson. I might buy the college one, actually.
The college is the one. It's a sweatshirt and a t-shirt.
Mikey P also got inspired by digging into some old school bumper stickers, including Carolina sucks eggs, if you're an NC State fan. And if God isn't a Tar Heel, then why is the sky Carolina blue? A classic. So anyway, all that right now on the Secret Stash. Head on over to the OG.shop. Again, that's the OG.shop. Look who's back. NC Grill Rescue is back in the house.
No need to bury your barbecue. Call NC Grill Rescue. And now it's time for your NC Grill Rescue of the week.
Happy to have NC Grill Rescue back. Hit them up, ncgrillrescue.com. I would hit them up right now because tailgate season is right around the corner. You want to make sure that that big smoker, that big drum, even your Weber is at tip-top condition. And Eric, NC Grill Rescue is going to make that happen for you.
Plus, don't forget, it's that time of the year where you can actually go outside and cook outside in September. So make sure you're ready for that fall grilling season.
I feel like your NC Grill Rescue is the folks of Wilmington, and you're wondering, how is it that you're out here having margaritas at 10 a.m.? Maybe the NC Grill Rescue was for you.
For me, for getting out of Wilmington.
In one piece. We got you out.
I did not make it to Sunset that day.
No shit. I have no idea. So hit them up, ncgrillrescue.com. Again, that's ncgrillrescue.com. Also, shout out to everybody who went to Two Roosters and got the OG Peanut Butter Cup, a.k.a. the actual name, salted peanut butter fudge. It was a hit. Sold out. Very excited about that. I know on Friday they were down to like 2 tubs, one at Person, one at Greystone. Gone. We'd love to see that. I don't know. It almost sounds like we got to talk to Jared about a permanent spot.
Fear not, the inspiration for OG Peanut Butter Cup is back this month. Peanut butter cookie.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. So hit up tworoosters.com. You've got an event. You want to get a bunch of pints for tailgating, right? Not everybody has an ice cream machine like Steve. But you can put some ice creams in an Arctic cooler and be good to go.
Yeah.
Two Roosters.
Oh, they sell a koozie now. For your pints.
I saw that. Yes, I saw that. So hit them up, tworoosters.com. Also, big thanks to Longleaf. I mean, heck, make an entire dinner out of it. Make it a night out. Go to Longleaf Swine there in downtown Raleigh. Head on over to the Person Street location for Two Roosters after the fact. I went to Longleaf twice last week. They had a BLT sandwich special. The BLT
Off the charts
was like a house smoked pork belly.
I was going to say they had pork belly last time I was there. That's what I got. It was delicious.
Excellent. And then we went on Thursday night before we went to go see the Odyssey for real this time. And the steak Fritz, Jacob at the steak Fritz. And again, it hits every single time.
Speaking of,
he straight up told me, he's like, if you think you're getting the last slice of the steak Fritz, you are wrong, Dad.
Speaking of tailgating season, Longleaf Swine will be doing their promotion again with the Holt Brothers Foundation. So it'll take care of all of your tailgating needs, which is phenomenal. You will be the star of your tailgate like I was last year when I went to the Longleaf Swine for the RV lot. And B, all of the great work that the Holt Brothers do. I'm looking forward to, we will be catching up with them before football season starts. Likely we'll do a show from over there, do a mailbag or something from over there, and we'll catch up with Terrence and Tori.
I mean, I haven't talked to Terrence in a hot minute. Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer, WH.lawyer. Again, that's WH.lawyer, attorneys and counsels at law. Do you have a small business, medium-sized business? Do you have contracts you got to work out? You're not worried about 5 and 5 rules and collective bargaining. Like, hey, you're working here. It's a private business. You sign these documents. Hey, look, these are all things that Whitaker and Hamer can handle. Hit them up, WH.lawyer. Again, that's WH.lawyer. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group microphone in studio, Locked On ACC, Locked On Wolfpack, he is Kenton Gibbs. Ken, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much, man. I'm glad to be here. I'm very glad to be here. I thought I was going to be too informal with my toes out. Then I come to see you in the Birkenstocks. And I realized, all right, this is the type of party we came into.
Why do you think I got into radio in the first place? I could wear shorts and a t-shirt. Nobody knows. It was radio. Nobody knows what I look like.
I love that. But you got a face for TV though.
I don't know about that. My mustache is giving me away these days. I don't know how people feel about that. So real quick though, we're going to talk to Paul Strand, who is the owner of the North Carolina Golden Bears youth hockey. People might not know this about you. But you love hockey.
Absolutely.
You're from the Detroit area.
Absolutely.
You love the Red Wings.
The reason I wore 96 at State, Demolition Man. Come on now.
Okay.
Come on now.
Okay.
My first number was 13, Pavel Datsyuk, the Magic Man. You know these are facts.
The reason why I bring this up is because I love when our guests tie together. There's like a unifying thing here.
Mhm.
And part of the reason why we're going to talk to Paul is because of the insanity that is travel sports and the insanity that is youth hockey, because it's very, very expensive. You wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Oh, well, my mom, she basically, when I played football, the first year she had to pay. And then after that, they were like, my first ever play was a forced fumble recovery.
Done.
And after that, they were like, hey, your son doesn't have to pay anymore as long as he plays here, right? And so she talked to a hockey coach and she said, I know my boy, whatever we put him in, he's going to be good at it.
Yeah.
Is there a good level where he doesn't have to pay? And the coach just laughed at him. The same laugh y'all just dropped. That's the laugh that he dropped.
But you were not getting that hockey for free, man.
And my mom said, I don't think we'll be doing this, son. So I said, all right, okay, I understand. God rest his soul. Wonderful.
Did you ever at least get on skates?
Oh, yeah, I know how to ice skate better than I can roller skate. My family makes a lot of fun of me for it, man. They make a lot of fun of me for it because from Detroit, roller skating is a big deal. And I'm sitting up here on these blades like, hey, is it cold outside yet, guys?
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. All right, so we essentially did a lightning round to start the show. We did close out with the Lombardi of it all over at UNC, but I actually wanted to start with UNC because I feel like we kind of get an idea of what NC State is. We know what Miami is. Right. We kind of know the storylines with Duke and everybody else. I still don't know if we know anything about this Carolina team. And I don't know if I came away from ACC. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I was wrong about this. Did you come away from ACC kickoff really having a better understanding of what this Carolina team is going to be? I was reading Andrew Jones over at Tar Heel 24/7 this morning, and they're playing it very close as to who the quarterback's going to be, even though I feel like it's obvious that it's going to be Billy Edwards. So do you know anything about this team?
Have you ever driven by a landfill before?
Yes, actually.
So
there's one out there in North Wake.
When you get closer to it, the smell starts to hit you.
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling I got from UNC at Media Days.
Okay.
With all due respect, that seems like a team that's a bit of a rudderless ship.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a team that lacks leadership, lacks conviction, lacks direction. I mean, and this makes my heart smile to say as an NC State alum. But now I got to put on my LockedOn ACC hat.
Put on the LockedOn ACC hat for a second.
For the league, it's terrible for us. Nobody can argue this. Even as a state guy, it is an objective fact that if you combine all the other FBS programs, merchandising in the state, we make up about 20% of what UNC does. Yeah. All of us together, 20 on a good year, 30%, maybe 40, but that's it. So from an ACC perspective and from a North Carolina, like the actual state of North Carolina perspective, it's terrible that they're this bad. It really is, because this is a team that you look at and say, all of the other teams that stink, they've got no money.
Yeah.
The interest just isn't there. Boston College, where's the money? Syracuse, where's the money? Pitt, where's the money?
Georgia Tech has to build a different mousetrap.
Yeah. Well, but even Georgia Tech, you see how good they've been.
They can be, yeah.
With a coach that just is dedicated and all in, and this is my first job, and this is my thing. Great. With North Carolina, you've given all of the investment in the world. Virginia and Virginia Tech had a similar level of investment recently, and what happened? Virginia had one of their first double-digit win seasons, go to an ACC championship. Virginia Tech lands the hottest girl on the market, and James Franklin.
Yeah.
So, you see the other people who are spending big money. Cal goes out, gets their big money coach. He sleeps on the beach to land JKS and keep him at Cal and do what he's got to do.
That story we had with Tosh, the Cal coach, about he didn't even really do the introductory press conference. He got on a plane to go to Hawaii to get his quarterback.
Yeah.
And I mean, Joe and I came away very, very impressed with that interview. Like, you sit down with a guy, you hear the usual talking points, but the way he delivered a lot of those talking was like, oh man, okay, this guy's different. I like this guy. Young, energetic, all in.
Absolutely. And Cal has always had the top end talent, but it's just been a lack of depth in him. But with the way that LaPoy recruits, I think that they're kicking backs in on the West Coast right now, and it's a bad time to be over there. I mean, USC looks like they're a year away from firing their coach. UCLA is terrible.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on there that he can make some hay over there. But you talk about UNC.
The coach Carolina should have hired last time? That coach who's going to get fired?
The thing
that guy?
The thing is,
you mean Carolina's next coach?
There are multiple
guys.
That guy? There are multiple guys they should have hired. I was worried when they were on Summerall.
Summerall was that guy. Yeah.
I was terrified. I said, hold on, I'm nervous. Don't get
if
Summerall.
they ever get it right. Yeah,
Man,
I mean, that's...
Listen, They got the resources. In today's game, it's about resources, right? We can all play this game of, it's about who loves dear old state the most. It's a money game. You're not getting the top quarterbacks without the top money. Top quarterbacks make top plays. Bada bing, bada boom. It's a money game.
Well, you got buy-in, you got investment, you got money. You look across the way at Clemson. I sent this to Giglio. There was JP Acosta who covers football. I guess he was bored. He was going through coaching staff rosters and whatnot. And he took one look at Clemson's coaching staff. This is one of these things where I've been too focused on, do they have dudes, right? I've not really, and other than, bringing back Chad Morris, I'm like, okay, got it. But then you look at the rest of that coaching roster, you're like, your boy, Rich Bisaccia is on that squad.
I'm excited.
Freddie Kitchens, I didn't realize Freddie Kitchens landed on that squad, on that team.
Dabo's turning back the clock.
He really is. And he's got it's like a who's who of former Clemson greats as a coach.
Yeah, yet Nuke Hopkins is down at Georgia Tech.
Lord,
what happened there?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I raised an eyebrow at that one.
Yeah, so I bring this up to say that even if you have all those resources, you still have to be with the times, and that's been the big question with Dabo too, at Clemson. Because I'm looking at the ACC predicted order of finish, which is not an exact science, as you know.
Of course.
Just look at last year. Two things that I was surprised by. One was that people truly want Clemson to be back to being good, that they gave him first place votes. I was like, let's simmer down there. The other one that I was surprised by is that all the people who are telling you that NC State will be your surprise team out of the ACC, that's been a very summer-long trend. Not a single first place vote.
No first place votes, yeah.
7th. I was like, well, that looks like a typical NC State year.
Yeah.
So where's the disconnect in the hot talking point come out at ACC kickoff that, hey, look out for NC State, they might surprise people, versus the actual result in the predicted order of finish?
Well, I can't remember who it was last year. There was a woman who works in sports media that did a god-awful top 25, and everybody was on her head about it. I can't remember who she was, but there was a Florida team that was bad that just had a terrible loss on there that she left in, and teams who won games that she left off.
Yeah.
And so everybody's like, why did you do this? And she's like, my vote is my vote. Nobody wants to be that guy that's like, that girl that's like, NC State, this is finally their year. And then you see a typical Doran. You got the cycle of Dave Doran up there on the wall, and you experience that cycle. And now you're sitting there.
Fool me once.
But you know what?
Is it almost time to move we're almost there. Not yet.
No, actually, I think it is.
Yeah, I think this is our year point.
It's August.
I think.
It's August.
David Pollack put us into this is our year.
Oh,
he
that's
said
right.
10. He said we get 10.
That's right.
10.
He's done that. I forgot who else was all on board with this. So, but yeah, man, I think people are on this with NC State.
But that's the thing. It's David Pollack he's big enough to where he moves the needle.
Yeah,
He is his own thing.
I don't have any problem with State being at 7.
No,
Georgia Tech is.
I have zero issues with State being at 7.
Yeah.
That's probably where they should be. What I'm getting at is there's a disconnect from
but that's because of us in our local
our little bubble.
Yeah.
Right? Or people, maybe we just talk to people who like NC State too much, like Eric McElwain, who's also all in on the Wolf.
People who like NC State and follow NC State. Look, this is Carolina's schedule from last year. It was so fucking bad that I thought they were going to go 7-5 because I thought the guy was going to care because their schedule was that bad last year. And I kept looking at it going, there's no way they can't. There's no way. There's no way.
There was a way.
I think people are looking at State's schedule going, man, it's really easy. It's really easy. Is it? The first 5 games. I just want to go through these with you.
Absolutely.
We don't need to go. We don't need to go full.
Is it win total?
We don't need to go full game by game.
I don't know, Joe. Sounds like win total.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Okay.
But of their first 5 games, 3 of them are losable.
Absolutely.
They open at Virginia.
Absolutely.
Who, as you mentioned,
down to the wire last year, needed the defensive end interception.
Yeah, it was a miracle that they. Either way, Virginia was a good team last year.
Yes, good team.
At Virginia, at Vanderbilt,
not easy.
Who's got a really good coach?
Yeah.
We know how this goes when NC State goes on the road. Take Vanderbilt to return the opening kickoff right now and thank me later. Thank me later. Okay,
you go retire off that one.
Yeah.
You go retire.
Yeah.
Okay, I got.
And then, arguably, the second most talented team in the league, Louisville, is here on October 3rd.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're going to lose all 3 of those games.
It's difficult,
but they could go 1-2 in those games, and now all of a sudden, you're here and you're going, "What the heck is wrong with these guys?" Instead of realizing. This schedule is not as easy at the beginning as people are making it out to be, like David Pollack or Eric McLean or or some others.
Well, here's the thing, and here I 100% agree with you. But they could go 0-3 and still have a really good year in those games.
Fair.
Like when you go down the stretch, this is something that I looked at and I said, oh my God, the ACC has finally done NC State a favor here. You're looking at, of your final 4 games, 3 teams could be without a head coach.
Yeah, Joe has made that
3.
point about how the ending could be.
It could be
Which we saw before.
However, that can go a couple different ways, right? You saw what happened with Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech last year.
Yeah.
Where you do, I mean, for lack of a better term, a dead cat bounce, where you're going to have a team have some pride after they just fired a coach and buck up.
Yeah.
And I could see a scenario like with Carolina going to Chapel Hill where you go in there thinking, man, they fired Belichick, they're down. And then, here we are with Bobby Petrino making a play to be the next coach at North Carolina. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So those are possible things. Florida State, to me, Florida State is the prime candidate.
Oh, yes.
They move on from Mike Norvell, and Florida State has a pride game, and it happens to be against NC State.
Nah, because they play Florida the next week. They'll care about the Florida game.
Okay, good point. Good point. I forgot that Florida's after that.
That's how they got Louisville the one year, because Louisville played Kentucky the next week.
You're right.
I'm going to tell you, the biggest thing that I look at in terms of those teams at the end and who could have a dead cat bounce is it's just that Florida State has some dudes that are like, hey, if you wake up the Deceers, if you wake up Deuce Robinson and he just decides to go legend for one game, he's a good enough wide receiver, and I don't think we have a big enough corner to just slow him down and contain him. Even though last year, we did a fantastic job on him with Marshall. I like Nelson a lot. I'd like to see him take a step to be what Marshall was at the end of last year. That's still a little bit of a level up. So
defensively, NC State is going to be better.
They have to be.
Right?
They have to be.
You'd think. But do they have? Here's the question. You always brought up erasers, right?
Yeah.
There was...
God, they had the ultimate hammer in Peyton for so long. That when you don't have that, it becomes...
Peyton Wilson, you dubbed the eraser. And what that means is some of the deficiencies of NC State's defense, which are just a byproduct of what NC State's program is, the kind of money that they have because of the transfer portal and NIL, you might not be able to just develop these guys into cycles. But you had one dude back there that could erase said mistakes. And we saw that the first year after. I remember we talked to Dorn about it. And he was confident that some guys would step up, but nobody really did that. And that's the question going in this year. I feel like they
invested though on the deep in the portal. I think they finally invested in that. So Popo Aguirre is supposed to be the Miami transfer.
Okay,
and this is where I think I don't know about you, Ken, but I was really impressed with CJ Bailey down in Charlotte for 2 reasons. Number one, just the loyalty in this day and age, and number 2, I think it was really smart for Dave Doran to go to CJ Bailey and say, "All right, you're coming back. Go get some guys."
Yeah.
Go get us some help. And I think that's, and it's not just receivers. I think it's a player like Aguirre that you're looking at and you're going, all right, it's pretty smart for what they did. I was really impressed with CJ Bailey and kind of how he handled the offseason, if you will.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Very modern, very 2026.
Bunch of guys from Chaminade Madonna, bunch of guys from the state of Miami. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of that going on around here because of CJ. I mean, objectively speaking, I think the defense last year, and this is with all due respect to Coach Elliott, I think it was too much of trying to fit round pegs into square holes, right? Like there was...
They switched formations.
Exactly.
He comes in, he had a lot going on with a tragedy in his own life. I mean, it's a lot.
And here's the thing, and I hate to be this guy, but the reality is we're in a results-based business, right?
Yeah.
Like the reality is it's not fun to talk about that type of stuff, but the reality is look at last year and Kenny Soares, prime example. Kenny Soares is at his best when he's on the line of scrimmage. When he's that undersized edge rusher that's allowed to do those things, he can be really effective. Where they haven't played all last year. Off the ball, will linebacker. Duke Gang, perfect example of the moment where it's like, hey, Kenny, brother, we need you to fill a hole. And it's not an indictment on him. It's not his game to recognize a hole, quickly diagnose the play, and fill it. That's not his game. His game is, I may be undersized, but I could jack this tackle up with one arm and shut this hole off. And that's what he's doing at his new college. I believe it's Michigan State. That's what he's doing up there. Every time I've seen tape of him, he's rushing a passer. He's setting an edge, which is like, that's where you are supposed to thrive. Going backwards ain't his game.
Yeah.
But we tried it anyway. So I think it's a understanding of not only did we not have the best personnel because of the mass exodus of DBs at the 11th hour. By the way, for half the season last year, our defensive line had more interceptions than our defensive backs. That's an actual stat from last year. You ended the game one with Kean Sloan's game ended interception. Then you had the thick six against Wake. They had more interceptions out of the defensive line our DBs had. You can't win like that. No. That's just not.
Well, it's funny. I say there's only certain ways that you can win. This gets us to Duke, right? And we talk about, we started the conversation with Carolina. What are you, right? Mm-hmm. With Duke, even with the Darian Mensah stuff, I still know what a Manny Diaz Duke team is, right? And I think they're a team that wants to be close. It's almost a Bizarro Dave Doran-esque type thing.
No, he's a Bizarro Chuck.
That's probably
it's
better
really
who
he is, because Chuck never wanted to win close games.
Yeah,
because he was never going to outcoach anybody without Norm Chow.
But Duke finds himself. They find themselves in close games all the time,
right?
And
they found a way,
and they find ways. Because I remember going back to turnover luck with Manny. Manny's very adamant. Like to me, turnover luck is not a replicatable thing,
right?
Okay, but Manny's like, no, there's skill. There's ways to do this. And I keep getting proven wrong as it relates to Duke, even last year, where they had golden opportunities that they screwed up early in the season. And then that thing happened again with Duke, where they were in tight games, and found a way to win at the end. They call it being in the sewers, a little grimy. I think they're comfortable winning that way. I also think they're comfortable with everybody just thinking, forget it. We're writing them off because of all the off-season drama with Darian Mensah.
I strongly disagree.
Okay.
I think that Duke has benefited from having some of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Okay.
I think it's okay. You can always win those close games if you just keep it close and say, Riley, go get us one, huh? How about?
Okay, here's my question about Darian Mensah. Is Darian Mensah really that good?
Yes.
Or is Darian Mensah a byproduct of the quarterback market being what it is? Okay, you're looking at me like,
my brother in Christ.
Okay.
No. In fairness, I know that look. It's because you went to the Illinois game. And he did not play well against Illinois.
He did.
Okay.
I get it. Like, a lot of times when you go and see something in person, you're like, oh. Like, the first time I ever saw Drake May in person, I'm like, hey, guys.
Yeah.
Just so you know. And, like, it was Florida A&M or whatever. I'm like, just so you know, this is it. This is Phillip Rivers.
We've seen plenty of guys like that. We've seen it from the byproduct.
I can see why you would say that about Mensah, but
we've seen that with guys getting drafted where they get drafted out of here sometimes,
right?
In terms of quarterback, right? Where you're like, Mitch Trubisky's a prime example of that back in the day, where it's like, wait a minute, what are the NFL people seeing that we saw plenty of data on this guy?
Here's what I was.
Who was the other Duke quarterback that just went?
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones was another one. When Daniel Jones went, like, no knock on Cutcliffe. We get he's the QB whisperer,
of course,
but we watched Daniel Jones play. Good college quarterback. I never thought he was a first round QB
pick overall.
So here's what I'll say about Mensah.
Okay.
Right? When you look at who he was and what he was, you ask yourself, is it replicable? Can you do this over and over and over again? Because they're 18 to 22-year-olds. They're going to have games. They're going to have moments.
And he's going to have talent in Miami. So.
But when you talk about in the NFL, you've got to ask yourself, when everything's going wrong, when you're under the fire, can you do it? He proved it at Duke.
Okay.
Duke was known for having really good offensive lines, good defenses under Elko. Some of that carried over, but by the time he got there, the offensive line mystique,
it did go away.
It did
go away.
Door.
No, you're right about that.
And
you're absolutely right about that.
He had one of the longest times holding the ball per play in America. Yeah. So he's out there playing hero ball 24/7. If he can get that coach out of him, he's going to be just fine. Because in the NFL, heroes don't last long, brother.
Well, on top of that, the dynamics of what you're playing with in Miami are different than that. Duke.
Oh, yeah.
So
a running back who just averaged 100 yards per game in the playoff and had his longest run of the season in the playoff, 55-yarder. Never had anything over 20 before the playoff.
Unreal.
I think first of all, Duke had a very manageable league schedule last year, which they took advantage of.
They did.
Same with Virginia.
But they had better skill players than people gave them credit for.
Fair,
agreed.
There was a little reverse plantation there. Yeah, you had the white skill players with the black quarterback. There's a little. there was a little lull. I think he will excel at Miami with the Malachi and the running backs.
Tony and all that.
Forget everybody else. I mean, I think he'll be outstanding. But I think Duke's skill players last year. Duke was a sneaky team last year. They were sneaky.
This is the part that concerns me about what I'm looking at with Diaz. his calling card is supposed to be defense.
Supposed to be.
Mhm.
And
Last year, that defense wasn't questionable. They were just flat out bad.
Yeah, they found themselves with catastrophic plays after catastrophic plays.
out of the league.
Out of the league.
And so it relied upon, it was that old Wake
Yeah,
Forest
fair.
thing.
That's
Remember with Hartman, where it was like,
Yeah.
just give us the ball
Get
last.
us out.
Yeah.
Give us the ball last and we'll
Yeah.
figure it
Clemson
out.
game. The Clemson
Exactly.
game.
That's where he ended up a lot of times.
Mhm.
And it was meant to magic. He just found a way.
Yeah.
He just, okay, I'll figure out
But
something.
they did that with Malik Murphy the year before, too.
And you know what? To that end,
They won 9 games with Malik Murphy.
but that defense was better. That
It was
defense
better.
wasn't great, but they were at least
They were
serviceable
better.
to good.
The skill players with him weren't that good either.
Yeah. That defense last year was like, and that's the part that worries me about Diaz.
Mhm.
My thing about him is, okay, now these are your guys through and through.
No, without a doubt.
This is your deal.
But you heard him at kickoff. He's like, we're faster, we're stronger. You know, they basically put everything in the strength and conditioning coach. You're rolling your eyes, though.
That's just like hearing a coach say we're faster, we're stronger is like hearing a 35-year-old at Cap, I'm in the best shape of my life. Yeah, I'm sure you are, bud. I'm sure of it. Yeah.
Not a
I'm
great
not going to hear you say that. You're not going to talk
Oh,
about how
absolutely
you're
not.
are you in the best shape of your life right now?
No, now I will tell you, I'm stronger than I was. And don't tell Coach Thunder that. I'm stronger than I was when I played. But in terms of movement and all that, you get me going laterally, it's over. An old woman named Meredith broke my ankles in pickleball. I left the court in defeat. I left the court. Look at Lifetime Fitness in North Raleigh is not a safe place if you don't have good lateral movement.
You're getting hustled at Lifetime.
I'm still looking for her. She had a hip replacement immediately after. I said she ducking smoke. I'm looking for her.
Is there anything more demoralizing than pickleball and playing old people in pickleball?
Oh.
And just getting
she hit
worked
this
by
drop
them.
shot. She
Yeah.
turned her wrist over on
Yeah.
that thing. It felt like hitting an Otani curve. It just came and just
you're
dropped.
like, listen, here's my resume. I played Division I football. You're doing this to me now? The last time I played at the Pinpoint, I had to leave. I lost every open mic night. I lost every game, and I've not gone back to that
Giglio,
place
she made me touch earth. And the worst part about it, I was good before that. I'm like,
You're like,
beating up on all the other people. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good. That old lady came on the
You're
court.
feeling alive.
You know, she was walking nice and gingerly too, nice and slow. She came over. We
Did
just
you ever squirt on? Those
You know
just
it.
kill you with the
you know it.
kindness.
She and when I fell, she said, "Oh, young man, you got to watch the drop." I said, "Am I being crap talked by an old lady?
You are.
I want to keep y'all clean rating, but am I being?
Yeah, you're getting. No, it's okay. You can curse.
Oh my!
Yeah,
This
you're
old
getting
lady
shit
is shit talking.
Yeah,
me.
she's shit talking to
Oh
you.
my god!
Yeah,
You know, but again, whenever y'all see her in Lifetime North Raleigh Meredith, I'm on the lookout for you. I'm on the lookout. Oh, I owe her a little
It
something.
doesn't feel like it's this competitive when I walk by the North Hills pickleball court.
No,
it
it
seems
is.
very casual at the
No,
North
it is.
Hills pickleball court
It is.
in the actual public park. All right. Post ACC kickoff, we got our prediction order finished, things like that.
Mhm.
Based on everything that we heard in Charlotte and everything from there, what do you think is not being discussed?
Ooh, that's a great question.
What is the
That's
thing
just
that you're like,
Virginia
whoa?
theory from last year.
Yeah,
where you were like,
exactly.
"Oh, wait a second. Who are we not talking about?
Now that goes to Tom Fornelli. Tom Fornelli was the one on cover 3 that dropped the, hey, Virginia,
Just so you know.
just so you know. And Fornelli was right. So there's usually one of those out there that you're like, hey, just so you know.
Yeah, I think just so you know is the quarterback play at Georgia Tech. Everybody is acting like we're good there.
His name is Mendoza.
Everybody's
Like,
acting like
okay.
we're good and we got the answer.
It's his brother.
Here's the thing. It's a
Got a
terrible.
Cuban quarterback, can't lose. Come on.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
So I've seen.
But I'm going to tell you something, okay? Not bringing a quarterback to ACC Media Days is a sign of terrible things. And honestly, that could be another one. How many
Yeah.
teams didn't bring quarterbacks this year?
Yeah.
It was astounding.
Yeah, it was something that
It
Wes Durham pointed that out to us at ACC kickoff. He's like, this is all running backs.
This is all
It's
running
all
backs.
running backs.
And even beyond that, these aren't even like, okay, Georgia Tech, sure, you got a new quarterback and all that. Vizina's been there for 3 damn years.
Well, I was going to say, who are the quarterbacks they did bring? Obviously, CJ Bailey,
Yeah.
Gio Lopez at Wake
Mhm.
Forest, Darian Mensa was there.
Mhm.
Obviously, who am I missing in terms?
Smoo was there, I would assume. Smoo.
I got to go back and look, but yeah, no, it's a good,
Oh,
no,
yes,
it's a good,
yes,
it's a good
yes,
point.
yes.
I'm not.
Jennings
There
was there,
there was
yeah.
not a lot of
But
QBs.
those are two things that I'm.
We're what,
I'm deeply
are we
concerned
2 years removed from Jim Phillips being at the podium saying like we're QB conference?
We're not long from that.
Okay.
And so to see that we now have this island of misfit toys of quarterback
Yeah.
where people are trying to sell me on Lincoln Keenholz and Ethan Grunkelmeyer. We used to watch Legends. We used to watch Kenny Pickett fake slide.
Hey,
Panthers left.
Pitt's only showing you their highlights from that game, from the state game.
Oh,
They made that motherfucker look like Dan Marino. And
Oh,
I was
man.
like, who? Sorry.
man.
What? What is happening right
Mason
now?
Heinschel could not miss that.
I was like,
day.
what is happening
And
right
you
now?
know what? That's the worst part about this whole thing that I saw with State last year was like our defensive backfield was so bad last year at times, especially early in the season, that first half of the season. I watched that Notre Dame game.
They weren't here. They were here.
Hit
They were
500.
here. And
Yeah.
then this was the Georgia Tech game where you're like, wait a second.
We are so back.
We're back.
We are so back. Number 8 team in the country.
Where did that come from?
He may not have been a top 10 team yet, but he's done it now.
Now.
You know, it just was one of those things. But I'm gonna tell you, man.
Can we just start the year here?
No,
Like, that's-
Oh,
no.
come on.
Dave.
No,
That's my only hope. That's my only hope
No.
for Dave.
no,
Here's the
Joe.
thing.
We, have
Only
to,
hope
go, we
for
have to
Dave.
go through the whole
You
cycle.
have to go through the steps.
Got to go through the whole
I
cycle.
know.
Whole
Here's
cycle.
the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If Dave is to break the cycle this year, I really need him to break the cycle because it would confirm one thing that I've said for forever, and everybody hates on me for saying this. I said 90% of colleges, if you just win 8 games a year in perpetuity, they'll build you a statue. And everybody acts like I'm crazy. And they're like, Dave's not getting a statue. And I'm like, dude, Dave is one ACC championship appearance away. He's one playoff appearance away from the statue going up. It'll be K-Yow, it'll be Timmy V, it'll be Dave.
Whoa.
He's got to have the cup.
I'm telling you, with the stogie, just ready.
Yeah.
Now, Ovi, tell me that I'm lying. He's the winningest coach in terms of total wins.
Yeah.
He's got all the things in that regard. But wait, even in terms of winning percentage, if you look at coaches that coach more than 50 games here, he's second.
I understand what you're saying, but I also know how fans work in that the goalposts always move. It's like, okay, you got to the ACC championship game, but you didn't win. Duke's got one. Why don't you have one?
You're forgetting how time works, okay?
Yeah, that's fair.
I went back to Cass Tech the other day. It's a little bit of a football powerhouse. We do great things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And one of the kids said, the coach said who I was and all that. And they said, oh, man, you're the guy that scored that 70-something yarder in the state championship. It was only 62 yards. Somehow,
70,
it
yeah.
got
Yeah,
extended
yeah,
out.
yeah, okay.
Just
Yeah,
from-
a little bit of a
just from
fishtail.
time
A little
existing,
bit of a fishtail.
it just
You
gets
know what?
bigger and bigger.
You're right. I've already seen the discourse about how they never should have fired Mac Brown last year or the year
That has
before.
started.
That has started, and it's just like, no.
Like it was
You
Paul
can't
was
give
like
up
the-
70 to JMU.
James
You
Madison.
can't do it, baby. You
Yeah,
can't do
That
it.
was the argument ender.
Yeah, Al Hood also wrote about this on Tar Heel blog, and I agreed with him. It's like we're not doing this retroactive. You never should have fired Mac Brown. No, it was the right time to
Well,
move on from Mac Brown.
And Boston
It
College.
was the wrong time to throw Bill Belichick a football life raft. Those two things can be true.
They left a girl that they clearly weren't going to get married to for a cheater. That's all that happened, right? You said, she's good, but I ain't going to spend the rest of my life with her. And then the woman that you left her for, she's out here with everybody. And,
Hey.
he's just a friend. Don't worry about him. Why are you hanging out with your friend at 3 a.m.? Oh, we're just talking, So now you're sitting back there like, that one that wasn't that good. She couldn't cook worth a damn. We didn't have much in common. But at least she was home at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
At least I didn't have to worry. Sarah, where you at?
And she's enjoying your demise
You
by
know-
reposting things from our account. Like,
You know,
like
Carolina
Mac Brown
football
is.
as Biz Marquee. I did not have that on my
I
card.
did not have
Here
that
we
today.
go.
It's the truth. It's
Did
the
not have
truth.
that.
She's sitting up there saying, oh, Giglio's going through that terrible breakup. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, Ovi, she got you on cheaters. You out there sitting there. Baby, come back home. Look at you.
They're at Steve's tailgate at 4:00 in the morning.
Exactly.
Kenton Gibbs, Locked On ACC, Locked On Wolfpack. Hey, man, thanks for hanging out. Fun time. We'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. Getting to talk hockey and cheaters. Great show.
Perfect.
Keep Julian straight too, man. Like he
He
can get off the deep end with his Tar Heel basketball takes. He's the mama dip blood
I mean,
runs
listen,
deep there.
All I'm going to say is this, right? People talk about NC State don't got the resources and all that, but I challenge North Carolina fans with this. Since NIL has existed, NC State has taken 2 trips to the College World Series, 2 Final Four appearances, 1 by the men, 1 by the women, and UNC has not beat them once in football since players have been getting paid. Very interesting phenomena that at the direct moment where everybody can openly get paid, one team gets much better than they've been historically. One team gets much worse than they've been historically. Interesting. Noticing.
Wolfpack ain't for soft people.
No.
All right, Kenton. Thanks, man. a fun conversation with Ken. We'll have to have him back in studio. Big thanks to Matt Davis, InsureGarner.com, 919-779-8277. Like I had to make my first wake tech payment, right? We were thinking about long-term planning for Caleb and Jacob and college tuition, things like that. Maybe you're a new parent and you were wondering about, well, what's the right way to kind of save money for college so that these things are all taken care of? Financial planning, things that I'm not good at, but Matt Davis, very good at. InsureGarner.com. It goes beyond just your home and auto insurance. It's also looking into the future. And Matt can help you out with some financial planning. Hit him up, 919-779-8277. Again, that's InsureGarner.com. Big thanks to Bloom & Blinds. We're not too far away from week 0, which means the After Darks will be back in effect. Very excited about that. Bloom & Blinds can help you out with things as simple as a blind repair. Maybe you're looking for a pergola outside to elevate your backyard. They can do stuff like that. You're looking for elevated interior shades, automation. Again, all things that Bloom & Blinds can do for you. All you got to do is call them up, 919-980-9815, bloominblinds.com. That's bloominblinds.com. Tell them you're an OG listener. You're going to get 15% off the work they do for you. Big thanks to Chris Brassfield and Brassfield Accounting. It is August. We're dealing with like end of half a year and third quarters are here, all that kind of stuff. All sorts of financial stuff that you're like, yeah. I know these are things that are happening, but I'm a small business owner. Maybe I'm dealing with government grants and I only got so much bandwidth. This is where Chris Brassfield can help you out. BrassfieldAccounting.com. Based in Homer, Alaska, but office in the RTP. So bring the paperwork. BrassfieldAccounting.com.
They got to do this like a proper radio, Joe.
Yeah.
You said it's almost time for the Bloom & Blinds After Darks, right?
Yeah.
You know what it is?
What's that?
26 days until college football starts. And to commemorate the 26 days, how about a great number 26? Joe Bernard, North Carolina. Here he is returning a punt against NC State and our good friend Brandon Bishop.
What? See, why do you got to do that to B-Bish, man?
I know. It's fine. 26 days. Don, 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 don. Play the ridiculous trumpet marching band music.
Did you enjoy the social media post from last week where this past Thursday was the last Thursday without football?
Tell your family now. You will not see me on a Thursday for the rest of the year.
Well, at the rate that I'm going next week, my family will not see me after we go to Danville. So I told Gordon,
crash out like me.
I was gonna say I told Gordon that we're headed up to Danville next week, and my dad's actually gonna stay at the Caesars.
That's awesome.
So he's like, "Well, I'm gonna buy you guys dinner." I'm like, "Okay." Like, what are the places to eat there? Isn't there like a Wolfgang Puck or a Gordon Ramsay?
Honestly, I've never made it to the food other than the $20 voucher.
Well, all I know is that my dad's picking up dinner.
Oh, let's go.
So I'm very excited about this. So just don't crash out before dinner. And if you do crash out, I don't know. Maybe
I'll try to pace myself.
Maybe ask the Bank of Ovies to extend your credit. I don't know. My dad would be likely to do it. Anyway, so you're talking to Gordon Miller about this. He's like, it's a shame to miss it. But he's ready for us when we go up to Detroit. So
yes.
I'm excited about this. Miller Lending. Hit them up, 919-447-3377, MillerLending.com. Take that thing to close. You'll get a gift basket from our friends at Miller Lending. Joe Giglio will personally deliver you a rowback as well.
I had to do that this week.
I know. Very exciting about that. Very excited about that. These are real things. These happen. You get a gift basket. Giglio will deliver a rowback. We don't make this stuff up. But it all starts with a conversation with our friends at Miller Lending. 919-447-3377. But yeah, no, my dad is going to crash in the Caesars.
That's awesome.
He's like, and if you need a hotel room, I got you. I'm like, no, Dad,
we'll be there early.
I'm probably good until dinner time.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to call it a day. So don't sweat it. So hit them up, MillerLending.com, 919-447-3377. Joining us in studio on the Heister Automotive Group microphone is Paul Strand. He is the owner, director, like what? Owner of North Carolina Golden Bears.
Yes, correct.
Okay. For those who are unfamiliar with the North Carolina Golden Bears, they are a youth hockey organization. You started, how young are your teams? What's like the lowest age team you got?
U10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes all the way to U18.
Okay. And how long have the Golden Bears been around?
2015 was the first year.
Okay. Before that, you had what? NC Force, right?
No. So, okay, I guess we have to do
the whole origin story for those who know.
Yeah, it started as the NC Force.
Okay.
And And then somewhere along the way, I got sucked into putting a junior team together. And they didn't want me to call it the NC Force, like the actual league, Eastern Hockey League. I wanted to be called the NC
Closer
Force.
to the mic. Closer to the mic.
Okay. And they asked me to change it. So I changed it to the North Carolina Golden Bears, which was after my college hockey team.
So a tribute to Alberta.
Alberta, University of Alberta. And then that thing folded after a couple of years, right at the start of COVID, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And I said I had enough of that. But of course, there was now a junior tie to the Golden Bears, and most people preferred that name and that because of what that might imply. And so eventually I did that for a couple of years where I had the two. You'd come in, you'd either play for the NC Force or NC Golden Bears. And if you got a little better, you'd move up or move down if you weren't. And finally I just got tired of people having to change the jerseys and change everything. So I just changed it all over to the NC Golden Bears.
I bring this all up because you've been doing this for a very long time in the area. You have ties all the way back to the original iteration of youth hockey in the market, right?
Yeah.
The old, the CYHA or whatever it was called.
The RYHA.
The RYHA,
the Raleigh
sorry.
Youth Hockey Association.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go all the way back to that.
Yeah, that's when I first started getting on the scene. Now they'd been around for 10 years. The East Coast Eagles had come about 3 or 4 years earlier when I first started coaching out in Greensboro, and yeah, they we got involved in it I got hurt playing, and I got involved with the Carolina Amateur Hockey Association, which brought me out here. And
now, for those who don't know, Paul is a Raleigh Ice Caps legend.
I was going to say he probably prefers Hamburg Crocodiles legend, but you were fucking balling that year, dude. You were balling that year.
Joe's got your entire career up on the database right now.
I spent a week at the Edmonton Oilers camp. Can we call me an Edmonton Oiler legend, please?
You and Gretz. Yeah, you and Gretz. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That all makes sense.
There's no record of it except for I have some pictures. And
so the reason why I bring it up, you were with the Ice Caps. Your first year was with the Ice Caps in their final year before they moved on and the Carolina Hurricanes became a thing. But I bring this up to establish before we go forward. Why here? You've bounced around. You're originally from Canada. What was it about this area that you're like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna settle here and I'm gonna get involved in this madness that is youth hockey, travel hockey.
Well, the hockey had nothing to do with it. I got traded here from Baton Rouge Kingfish in November of that year.
Okay.
And I got picked up by some guy at the airport, who worked for the Raleigh Ice Caps. And this was right at the end of November. And I had the window down. And I came from Baton Rouge, which was very muggy.
Yes.
Very, and it wasn't, I didn't really enjoy that weather down there. And I've told the story a lot of times. By the time I got to the hotel, the big round one that's down on Hillsborough,
which is going to have a new life here soon.
Is it?
It's like a Moxie Hotel or something like that.
The old Holiday Inn.
Yeah, the old Holiday Inn there.
And so that drive, I had the window down and I go, this is actually incredible that the weather is like this year. And I'll tell everybody that's the reason why when I finished playing, I luckily got traded back to Greensboro my last year playing, got hurt, and I just love North Carolina.
Okay.
And it was more of a feel of the area. Yeah. Growing up, I guarantee so many Canadians probably look at North Carolina as this black and white place, like just like what's the
Mayberry, like
Mayberry.
the old
because
Andy
that was the vision that I had in my head.
Yeah.
And then you get here and it's green and it's lush all the time, and you're like, oh my lord!
And you can drive with the windows down and not have gigantic insects jumping in like you would in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, correct.
So there's that from the bayou. You don't want that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to establish all that for those who were not familiar with Paul and what he does, who he is, and the grind of hockey, man. That is commitment to bounce around the minors like that for as long as you did.
Yeah, and you use the word grind.
Yes.
I rarely do. I actually don't totally like the word when it comes to playing. I love playing. I never would have quit. I probably would have played till I was 40. There was a guy who actually played for the Raleigh Ice Caps my first year, Corey Carlander. He was roughly the same age as I was. And he ended up playing until he was like 41 in the minor leagues.
Okay.
And you have to be solid muscle, which he was the whole time and playing through that to that age. But I got hurt, right? And so I just couldn't really play it anymore. And I said, well, I better get on with something else. But I would have played for like there was no other. I love playing.
Although
hockey.
you have the list, Joe. Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, I mean, this is I want to know if we're going to go to your playing career here. I want to know how you had 223 penalty minutes in 48 games and then never really came close. We had 170 with the Scarecrows, but you had 223 penalty minutes in 48 games in 91 juniors with Fort Saskatchewan, the Traders.
So in those,
getting to like 10 fights or
well, they don't have the rest of the stats on that hockey league, but elite prospects might have it on there. But I think I got 200 something penalty minutes every year.
Okay.
So
this says 170 for the Scarecrows. Was your other closest?
Pro hockey is a lot different to get that many, right? You have to be fighting and cross checking and getting 10-minute misconducts all the time in order. They don't give them out as much. But in the junior hockey, I think I finished with 699 total in the 3 years. My brother finished with like 1,000. Like
just he
fought all the time. No
actual fight. You earned it.
Yeah. Like back in the late 80s, 90s, you fought. Everybody fought. Like it wasn't if you didn't go through 10 games without somebody slashing you and you fight, and then most of your teammates would get on. So I don't consider myself any different than most of the guys who played that. So
was it you or was it Jimmy Powers, another Ice Caps legend, who told me the story of like the fighting that occurred in the minor leagues? And like there were just guys on the team that if they were on the ice, you wanted off the ice. It was just that simple. And like there was like one Russian guy, maybe it was Jimmy who told me this story. It was like one Russian guy who took on an entire team. Like he got on the ice and that was a wrap. You were not getting out of there unscathed.
Yeah, and it for some reason we all kind of justify in our mind that it meant something.
Yeah.
At the fight, like
an omerta code.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a different time back then. Like, I remember my last year junior, there were 9 guys who didn't have a fight, and I remember talking about it and talking to people, I think things are changing.
Yeah,
because to have 9 guys go through a whole season without getting one, it never happened. Like I think the year before everybody had one.
Somewhere Jacob Slavin's like, what do you mean? What is a fight? What are you talking about?
It was also a legitimate, you said being in Edmonton, it was a legitimate path to the NHL to be an enforcer.
Oh yeah.
And Marty McSorley made a whole career out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody had to be Gretzky's enforcer. I mean,
yeah,
every team had one, at least one.
You did. Like there were, and they were, if you were a better player, like better as an enforcer, like not only could you fight, but like Dave Semenko, those guys, like you got some points, you definitely, and you made some good money, right? And now it's not as much, right? Like you don't have those guys, but they certainly are memorable.
But there's a romanticism to it, because you even see it on the small scale. Like they added Nick Delorier, right, to the Canes. He saw one game, and essentially
in the playoffs.
The playoffs, he saw one game, and it essentially was a setup for what was against Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
Because they knew how things were going to go, so they put him out. And to me, it was a kind of a throwback, and you can still tell that even though he didn't play a lot, he has a particular look and a vibe, and he's a fighter, or he's known to fight. And you could see people just absolutely gravitate towards that. So it's still in our minds that we still sort of like that aspect of hockey, even though we know the game is 10 times better than it was, 30 years ago.
Well, it's kind of like with Brady Tkachuk fighting Jordan Staal. That could have been the worst person on our team to fight, because there was no way of winning that. Had he won the fight, we still would have won, because Jordan Stahl's not a fighter. Now, if he would have went after Nick Delorier, then Brady Tkachuk probably could have pumped his team up, but it went nowhere because of the whole aspect of
that. And Jordan Stahl's a horse, man. You can't bring him down.
No. But there was no win in that fight, right?
There wasn't.
But anyways, back then that was the
okay.
I mean, the pro is just a little bit more difficult to get those numbers up, because they allow you to do more things, right? But
Wolf of Wall Street, you got to pump those numbers up.
I am proud, even though I would not be proud of the kids if they were playing for me, that most of the teams at it. I led most of my team in penalty minutes.
Okay. That's fair. We'll end the show by going through some of these logos and some of these other. Joe's gonna love.
I know. I gotta go through some of the stuff.
I have them all up ready for you, so that's how we'll end this program.
One of the reason why I wanted to bring you to the studio, it kind of got in my head when we had Tim Healy, he of the Ice Pack No More. Now he's up in the New England area, heading up a prep school. But Tim's always promoting youth hockey in the area, very invested in it. I understood where he was coming from. It was an outside voice who understood how it is in other places, and he was trying to implement those changes or those initiatives here. But they always seem difficult to get off the ground. Okay. And I know the big news last week for those who are unaware in the hockey community, they finally broke ground on another sheet of ice at the old Raleigh Iceplex, aka Polar Ice Raleigh.
Off of Wake Forest?
Off of
where Mars used to be? The club?
No. That's closed. That's been closed.
That's gone.
The Center Ice has just been sitting there dilapidated.
Oh, this is the one behind Highwoods.
Yeah.
Behind the Waffle House.
By the liquor store and the Waffle House and all that stuff, right? So they're building a second sheet of ice.
Not an Olympic size.
No, it's Olympic size.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be Olympic size, right?
The one they're building?
Yeah.
No, that'll be regular.
Oh, it's a regular sheet of ice. Okay. Because the Iceplex, the OG sheet of ice is an Olympic ice.
Yeah.
So anyway, all that being said, this was met with like big huzzas. Why is it so difficult to get things like this off the ground in 2026 when I know this, speaking as a father of a youth hockey player with the Junior Canes, the numbers get bigger and bigger, and there's only so many sheets of ice to go around for three organizations, the Junior Canes, yours, and the Raleigh Raptors. You have beer leagues, aka adult leagues. And then you also have, the actual Canes utilizing the ice over at Invisalign, the red rink. So if we all recognize, hey, like this is a pretty big deal, the Canes' success also drives more youth participation. Why is it so difficult to get a sheet of ice in this area? And I'm not even talking about Raleigh. I'm just talking about the surrounding areas as well.
Well, I think that a lot of it is the lack of belief out there, which is also spread by possibly investment community and things like that, that a southern area could handle more ice time or more ice out there, right? It is something that even with an NHL team here and one that's had some success, what the worry is because it is expensive to build these things, that do you really have the numbers? And it's easy to spread those types of things. Like I get asked it constantly, and I've been telling people for years that could probably handle 3 or 4 more sheets of ice in the area, and a place would not lose money. But then again, I'm not the type of person who has the kind of money that would invest in these things. So I don't know what they're looking for as a return, or, I know that if you just didn't want to lose money and you were all right just putting your money in and you can get it back. But I think a lot of the people who tend to invest in rinks in the year 2026 want to make a lot of money.
Do you think the city, county, or any city or county, because when I go up north for tournaments, again, momentum has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Totally understand. You go up north for tournaments, you actually go to municipal rinks, like county-owned, city-owned rinks. I'll be up in Detroit in January, and some of those rinks, you see all the high school banners, you see all the high school trophies, there's an actual high school community, all that kind of stuff. Is that just momentum, or the city's got other problems that Raleigh's never going to get behind? I don't know, putting a sheet of ice behind Pullen Park because they got the land.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if the cities will ever, because of the same thing. The historic these are ball towns, right? These are, you play football down here, you play baseball down here, and it's easy to put up a community baseball diamond. It doesn't cost as much money, things like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to convince a city council to spend that kind of money on something that they're not sold. And there are people out there again who will tell you, well, you'll only fill it half of the time, and then you're gonna be losing money on it, right? And the cost of keeping these things up are so much more because you have the cooling and system, right? And so I think that's where the cities now. Do I think if a city put in a couple, then it would bring the cost down quite a bit,
probably,
and that kind of stuff. But I just don't. I think it's very hard to pass it by those.
What's the biggest challenge for your group now that you were here before the Hurricanes, but now you have the Hurricanes, Junior Canes, all this other stuff? Do you see it as a competition, or do you see it as I have my own little path, they have their thing? Obviously, it's all good, all part of the greater good.
Well, technically, I don't. Joe may know this, but technically, I was here before
Yeah.
Like, so I was with the junior K.
Okay.
So I had originally got a job with the Carolina Hurricanes to brand the Raleigh Youth Hockey.
Okay.
But it wasn't technically at the start going to be the Raleigh Youth Hockey, but it ended up being them. Right. And so there's an irony to the fact that I had to start my own program. I'd moved away for a couple of years and came back and the fact that I had to start my own program but I understand how you grow the sport. And I'm a big believer in having more programs down here. If there were more rinks instead of, I did have a brief time in my 30s there when we started it where I thought, well, the Junior Hurricanes could just create a whole bunch of different brands within their own thing and have it, but you still needed separate, like in Edmonton, we have 5 or 6 AAA organizations within the Edmonton boundaries, but they're all part of the Edmonton Minor Hockey Association. So that was the original thing that when we first started that we were going to get rid of all the other programs, but we were going to create that competition and just quadrant it out. Right. And that just didn't work. And in the United States, it's a lot harder to do that simply because capitalism.
I was going to say, is it simply, is it a simple thing of money is the reason why? That's why we can get into the whole private equity aspect of this because they've identified it's expensive to run, but these things sit on prime real estate, which is an absolute, it's catnip for private equity coming in. So
it was also, not knowing all the details, but Pete Carmanos kind of got his start in junior hockey in Detroit. So I think he saw an idea, not knowing your relationship with PK, but he saw it as a benefit. Does anyone think Tom really is going to do something for the benefit of anyone other than Tom?
No.
No. And if he does,
I am the one saying that.
I'll say it too. But if he does, it would just be like the Dallas situation.
Yeah.
Where I guess what I'm getting at is this idea of investment money really feels like dark money. Really feels like I'm going to take you for your word given your track record that you care about the sport of hockey, youth hockey, giving people a chance to be a part of this game. I don't think the people who are running youth hockey at large or investing in youth hockey at large have that same prurient thought.
Well, they may have 10 years ago. They may have 15 years ago. But the fact is youth sports, not just youth hockey, youth sports has become a big business, a massive business. And so, it's hard being in this because I love to coach. Just like I had explained about playing. I would have played forever. I love to be there's nothing else I want to do. I enjoy it. I like seeing the kids go places. With that said, I'm in a business that costs a lot of money and it is financially, a successful business, right? If you do it well. And so from that standpoint, it's hard for me sometimes to tell people, it'd be great if Tom Dundon took some of his money and built 5 rinks in the area and brought the price of hockey right down, and we would have 10,000 more kids playing hockey cheap, and they could do something, and they could go somewhere, and they wouldn't have to leave here at the age of 14, 15 years old to go play tougher hockey. Because if you have more players playing here because it's cheaper, and that's the only reason that more people aren't playing youth hockey in Raleigh is because it's as expensive as
cost effective.
The cost effective. Yeah. If you go into, I don't know, the Northeast corridor, what's the current cost per hour right now on average for ice?
Well, you get some of the places who are just as expensive as us, but that's because you're in New York City, right? Or
Well,
and things like that.
That's all relative.
But
that's all relative.
a lot of them are $200, $250, and which is still relatively cheap down here, right? But the conditions in Raleigh, North Carolina, other than it being a southern area, is the conditions are very, very ripe to grow the sport of hockey here. You would have so many kids playing if they could find a place to play and they cheap.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know you mentioned that it's a youth sports issue in general, not just for youth hockey. We see this at the soccer. We see this with baseball. In terms of, what do you like to say? Basically, they look at parents as marks. Yeah, essentially, you look at parents as marks, and you look.
Well, let's be very specific too. The white demographic, upper middle class
with money.
That was soccer's immediate thought.
Yes,
we're
gonna bring you in. We're gonna develop you. You have to pay this amount of money, and we're gonna keep adding things.
The generation below us was convinced. Our X and Y was convinced if you invested in your kid, they would get a scholarship.
Yeah.
Boy or girl.
Yeah.
And I think that's really how to boil youth sports down. That's essentially how we got ourselves into this situation in any sport, is that we all convinced ourselves, well, I would have played football at Penn State if my dad did ...
Yeah.
I would have been, at the end of the bench for Rutgers if my dad did ... or my parents did ... And so we all decided, you got these fucking strength camps and, I'm going to go stretch and go lift weights at 11 or whatever the hell it is. And it's like, you have spent more on your child with the development idea, the camps, all this other stuff. You spent more on that than you would have spent like on actual tuition for college, if you think about it. Or at least the equivalent.
Or the equivalent. Sometimes I think more. But anyway.
We saw this in soccer. We try to give everybody the special boy treatment. Oh, that's my special boy. Instead of saying, no, here are the 16 best players, which hockey does, in fairness. Hockey does identify the best youth players, send them to Michigan and say, okay, no, we're going to get some of your money, but we're going to let the elite ones go. And that's kind of the problem in soccer and some of these other things. They just want to make money. They just take money. But talk a little bit about, because I don't know any of this stuff. With hockey, you're saying the price. You're saying whoever runs the building is coming to your organization and giving you a price per hour. That's essentially how it works. And then you turn around and charge the teams or the groups based on what you have to pay per hour, or how does some of these costs kind of get to where they are? Because the two of us couldn't figure it out in soccer.
Yeah.
we were like, what are we talking about here? But I could definitely understand one of these local rinks saying, hey, it's 98 degrees here. This is the cost of maintaining this building, and the cost gets passed on to you. Yeah.
So you got the cost of the ice, right? And you got the cost of you have to put, pay fees for tournaments, right? So you put that in there.
For context purposes, Jacob to play Junior Canes hockey this upcoming season for what is 16U hockey, A level, the get-in price just to have him sign up with the Junior Canes was just over $5,000.
Okay.
Now with that $5,000, you get practices. So he's on the ice twice a week permanently, on the ice twice a week for practices. There's every other week player development that the Junior Canes run. You also get an off-ice program. You also get X amount of home games, and you get X amount of tournament fee that you can then baked in. That's all baked in. So like me as the manager of my kid's team, I got X amount of money for tournament budget.
Okay.
Because it's a lower budget fee because those tournaments are cheaper. If he was AAA, well, shit, what are we talking about, Paul, for like a AAA trip? For like a fee. Like, let's say I want to go to some like CCM event.
So you go to My Hockey, you can get into the My Hockey ones, which is
what I'm doing.
Yeah, which
are cheap, all things considered.
And they're cheaper the more you do it. And they have that 15 day window that you
Paul will appreciate this. Because it's technically a minor year for us. I did all my hockey tournaments. I got 5 tournaments because I got the discount. Otherwise, I'm budgeted for 4. But because I played the game, I got an extra one because I played the discount game. But again, this is just A hockey. Yeah. This is A hockey.
Yeah. So
things get different at AA and triple.
So you're down in about the 15 to 17,000 or 1,500 to 1,700.
Yes.
Price in there. You go to the 200 by 85s and the better tournaments. They're $2,500 to $2,700.
Just for that weekend.
For the team. And then
and that's without hotel costs. Because these are pay to play.
And then the pay to play stuff.
Or stay to play, I
was going to say that's the Dallas model, the stay to play. You can't play in the tournament unless you stay.
Yeah. And they get a bad rap, but that was mostly because they were doing it under USA Hockey, and that was the rap, is they were forcing kids under. But it's just
they get a bad rap for extorting parents. Yes, Paul.
No, I agree with Paul. I agree with Paul because you are getting discounted hotel rates, all that kind of stuff. I actually think it's a bad rap, but that's just me. That's me.
God forbid we stay at an Airbnb together and get a house for.
But think of the team camaraderie in the lobby, Joe.
Get a house.
Just saying. The kids, you can't.
Paul's like, Giglio, get your hands out of my pocket, please.
You can't take away from the memories in the lobby, man. Come on now.
We can't. I'm never in the lobby as the guy who runs the program.
You can't. But the kids, the parents, they can hang out and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And so going back to your question about, and so you got to build all that stuff in. If you're a nonprofit like the Junior Hurricanes are, then you have the salaries of the people who are the administrative people, and I think they have more coaches that are fathers and things like that they don't have quite the expense, and that I'm sure those guys can get some money off their tuition. With my program, I mean, I pay my coaches, and so for the most part, that's where the major expense, other than the ice time, comes. Is I'll pay the coaches,
particularly the coaches,
and mostly, again, not where I totally believe that a parent can't do the job. I just deal with a lot less stuff.
I agree.
If you have a parent that's coaching, he could be the best that do exactly what I would do, and they'll win. I've had this where the team will win the games, the exact same team that I'm coaching, and I'm just not there that weekend because I got another team, and I'll hear from the parents. Like, and I'm like, well, I would have done the same thing, and they'll just, you guys won by 8. I don't know what your problems were, but when it comes down to it, I just deal with less,
politics.
right? It is. It's unfortunate, but it's built up. But yeah, so that's where the expense of the youth hockey comes from. Most of it is the ice time. That is the biggest price, and it's constant.
So when you were growing up in Alberta, you were able to play without going out of town every weekend and going somewhere, or no? But by the time you're in junior hockey, you're playing too many other places and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm getting at is, could Raleigh ever get to the point where it is self-sustained?
Joe's always on my ass about, like, why are you going here? Why are you going
not for
there?
Not for you who played pro hockey, but for his son who's never going to play professional hockey. Like, why can't you just play in Raleigh and play enough games and not lose a kidney in the process?
Well, we're getting there, but if we had 4 more sheets of ice, we would be there. And, like, especially the fact that we won the Stanley Cup,
right?
There's no surprise that the youth hockey or the house league sold out in 5 days. Sure, none.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, like that.
I didn't know that. Okay,
it like
house
league. House. So you got to think about it. All the travel had already been done.
Okay.
All the travel tryouts were done. So every spot there was already taken. We win the Stanley Cup, and the house league sold out in about 5 days.
Okay.
At least 2 of the age groups that I knew that I know for sure did. And so you're dealing with now, those are the people who know about hockey, like, and know when to sign up. But all the other kids who watched the Stanley Cup, who just told their parents they want to play hockey next year, of all different demographics, basically they're probably calling up the rinks, or I'll get an email every now and then from somebody who just wants to start playing hockey. And they're not going to have a place to play in the fall.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And now, if we had a few more rinks in town, we would have been prepared for it.
And this also affects things like, because again, with Jacob now being in high school, Enloe has a hockey team. They're part of this Triangle Hockey High School Hockey Association. And they didn't cost anything to go to the games, but they wanted you to scan a QR code because they're trying to express to the various counties that have these schools, hey, there's actual interest in this in the same way there's interest for basketball, there's interest for football, baseball, etc. So they're trying to prove that there are numbers behind this to actually get behind a more formalized high school situation rather than what it is now, which is essentially club. It's a club sport. It's not officially recognized by Enloe. I just feel like there's no putting the genie back in the bottle here. To Joe's point, to your point about, hey, if the Canes continue to be successful, more people keep moving to the area. They played hockey. Like, I know plenty of people who've come from Michigan and other places. They come here and they're like, all right, my kid plays hockey because I played hockey, XYZ. I feel like you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So how do you kind of coalesce all these interests? Because you've done this before.
Yeah.
I want to go back to, I almost feel like you're back at the point that you were years ago when you were brought on by the Carolina Hurricanes to kind of like coalesce these things. Are we back at that point with youth hockey in the area?
Well, I'm trying to get more of an understanding.
Okay, so when this requires for people to understand a little bit more context here. when you said you were brought on by the Carolina Hurricanes, what was the expressed goal when that happened? It feels like there were various kind of groups, and they're trying to bring it under one umbrella. They're trying to get behind it more. To Joe's point, Peter Carmanos, big into youth hockey. When you go up to Detroit, you see Bell Tire. You still see CompuWare. You still see all that kind of stuff. So you were brought in to do what back then?
Well, I had told them that they needed to put their logo on a jersey.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to sponsor, put their name on the Learn to Play.
Okay.
Right. And so I had said something in a meeting that, to that effect, that if they just put their name on a jersey, the kids would want to play on that.
Yeah.
Everybody would want to play. If I grew up in Edmonton, and now they finally got it, they actually have the logo on a jersey in Edmonton too.
Okay.
Right. And they never had that growing up, but they didn't need that in Canada. Of
course not.
Here we wanted to take it from 2,500 kids to 10,000 kids. And so that was the goal then, right? I just had a different vision about how we could do it. And it took a while for me to realize, okay, you cannot force everybody to be part of one organization. You have to have multiple different organizations so people have
okay. So you had that realization then. Now you have all these organizations.
Yep.
You also have high school interest because the kids want to continue to play hockey, but not in a spring house level. They actually want to, have their high school pride and things like that. So the question would then be, what do you feel has to happen next to get everybody kind of on the same page?
Well, we've been working on that for the last few years. We've had some battles, right? And
of course, everybody has their opinions.
And so, myself and another man in town, Stan Mistios, who runs the Raleigh Raptors, we get along very well in terms of the youth part and how our organizations work. And we still battle. Our team still, a few times a year, we'll have to deal with phone calls of things that our kids have done or our parents have yelled, and we just deal with it. And we know it should not be part of youth hockey, so we deal with it that way, right? And I think that we've now started to have that same kind of communication with the junior Hurricanes. There was some problems for a few years where there was probably done because of a worry that you had a couple other organizations that were gaining a foothold and were developing. But you need that. You need 3 or 4. Well, we have 3.
It's competition.
There's the one out in Hillsborough, the Thunder. I talked to the owner there all the time, trying to make it sure that he knows that he's got the support, because I want that to be, because then you don't have to leave. You don't have to go and spend more money out of town. You can play a day game, right? So you need them to be competitive as well. That hopefully they'll get to that point to where they're consistently all around.
We also saw that recently what Queen City, right? Where there was a consolidation of some youth programs that are just now under that umbrella, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it used to be Pineville Falcons and somebody else, but now it's all under Queen City?
Yeah. So the Polar Ice Group went down there and along with the Queen City, who used to just be out of one of the rinks out there. And there was another program that was out of the Pineville rink. The Polar Group went down and worked with the Queen City group. But part of that working together was that they would now be able to be have everything within that whole Charlotte area.
Okay.
And now it's their responsibility to grow the sport there. And they've expanded them. And now they're all under one. And that, is that a tougher thing, instead of having somebody right across or 45 minutes away that you don't have to play an away game, because that organization is no longer there. It's called the Carolina Premier.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they're no longer there. And so now everything you have to travel in order to play. But, there's on the flip side, there's not the infighting, right? So maybe as long as they continue to develop, and they have a bunch of pro coaches as well. They have they have a model where they're growing the thing with using more pro coaches and guys they're paying, and now they have to grow from the B level all the way. Right? And
so I guess we'll close the conversation on this. Just all that context setting so people understand where we're going on this. I strongly feel that we're at some sort of inflection point where if this thing's actually going to take off the way that everybody says it wants to take off, there has to be everybody getting on the same page as to where it goes. The obvious answer is more sheets of ice, right?
Yep.
So how do we, if people are interested in doing this, if they've got a kid who's playing hockey, whether it's house or travel, is there anything parents can do to kind of let people know this is what we want?
Um,
How do you get involved?
well, I think that the main thing is the people who run the rinks in this town is the Polar Ice Group, right? And so the main thing is communicating to them that we want to continue to play. Because I think everybody can always say something about the people who are running stuff. Like, well, they don't do enough. But the fact is they're the ones putting the money up.
Right.
And so I can sit here and say, oh, I wish, but they're not doing it other than the fact that they don't want to lose money. Right. So you're right. They need to hear from people. Well, I want my kid to play and he's got no place to play. Right. And, not, hey, I want my kid to go to the NHL and you need to do it for me, because those people, the Polar Ice Group and even myself, we don't have that ability. Your kid has to have that desire inside them, and we can provide them a place to develop, right? But
have that conversation with Jacob all the time. It's like,
it's
hey,
got,
man.
yeah. But
he hit me with, well, I want to go play at Penn State. I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, these things need to happen. That's up to you, like those types of things.
Yeah.
But he wants to play.
Yeah.
He wants to play. He doesn't want to get squeezed out. And that's why I always ask about more sheets of ice. I feel like it's just more opportunities to play at a level that makes a lot of sense for kids. We're just having a good time.
Yeah.
So
oddly enough, the answer is the same one that Dundon has asked about. Well, why aren't there more billionaires in Raleigh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, think about it. With Detroit specifically, it was Illich and Karmanos. And that's really how, when you had your awakening when you went to Detroit, you're like, oh my God, what is Minnesota?
This?
Like, I don't understand. Minnesota obviously is a little bit like Alberta.
We played a team from just outside, like an hour outside Minneapolis. They're on the ice 6 times a week.
Yeah.
And they're like,
there's likely municipal support, which to Paul's point, you had Wayne Gretzky growing up. We had Michael Jordan, and basketball, was able to grow at an easier rate. But no, we can't let them go without a tour here.
Okay, we got to get a
logos.
tour. No, but to wrap the point,
yeah,
Paul.
like just real quick though, because I want to make sure I counter that, is that you don't need to be on the ice 6 hours or 6 days a week in order to make it. And the thing about it is all those kids were on 6, but only 1% of them or a small percentage of them get anywhere. The fact is you first and foremost need to love playing any sport, and then you got to be able to do it. And then when you get to a certain age, then you start saying, hey, I can be on 6 days a week. But being on 6 days a week, that's not the answer to the growth of the sport here, or even our ice issue. Right?
Yeah, I just bring it up in that it was a stark contrast of like, what? And at that point, because of the level of the team, Jacob was on the ice essentially 1.5 times a week outside of games. So those kinds of things. And again, it's more from the perspective of he wants to be on the ice.
Yeah.
He wants to do those things.
Yeah.
To your point about the age, you make a decision. I mean, I know plenty of kids that they got to high school, they want to play football. So they stop playing hockey. Jacob had that choice to make. No, I want to keep playing hockey. So that's what it is. So I'm just looking at it from a parent perspective of, I just want my kid to keep having opportunities.
How many times the football players in the gym? 5 days a week.
Yeah.
That's where they need to be.
That's where they
Same
need to
thing
be.
with the hockey players.
Yeah,
hockey players need to be in the gym 5 days a week.
I had that exact conversation with Jacob, and guess who's at the gym more often than not now. So
all right, we got to start.
We got a database.
Yeah, we got to start with the most disappointing logo here. And if you peek over here, Paul, you could see if you need to be reminded. This is the Baton Rouge Kingfish, Joe.
Oh man, that is peak 90s.
And that looks like an AI of Bates Battaglia, but it's somebody by the name of Martin LaRouche.
Okay,
LaRouche.
I don't know.
That jersey, that's some ESPN2 mid 90s.
Is that mid 90s?
I would assume.
I have to assume that's mid 90s.
I think the one up in the corners, that's the one that was on the jersey.
The actual the fish itself.
That one, the jersey that he's wearing there is probably some special jersey that they sold at the end of the game. And
that's what they tend to do. Yeah,
I think we get about 15 of those a year, and that's how most of those teams make their money.
I'm very disappointed in the Baton Rouge Kingfish logo. Let's go to we're going to save Joe's favorite one for last. I already know he's going to like it the best. I was also disappointed in this. This is Germany, so obviously that's the Florida Gator.
That looks like
That's
Windows.
the Florida Gator.
That looks like Microsoft Paint version of the Gator. What is that?
The Gator.
Well, I think that was the first year.
That's the Gator, man.
And I don't know how much they put into it, to tell you the truth.
I mean, you tore it up in Germany. 36 points, 41 games, man. You were balling.
Van Burgess was balling on that.
It's fair.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the last two. I as a Wizard of Oz person who watched it once a year as a youth, the Topeka Scarecrows. There's also some.
Oh, that is a great minor league logo. My goodness,
that's pretty good.
It's a scarecrow, like just a character of a scarecrow holding a hockey stick, and the tape is like more hay.
And I think they only lasted a couple of years in that league.
Okay,
too, so.
that looks like the villains in Superman, Legion of Doom.
Yeah,
Justice.
right. I believe Batman fought that guy Scarecrow in Batman Begins.
And now we are going to get to the logo that Joe Ovies is absolutely going to want to steal from you. And you have a story because of the Oregon Trail. This is your junior hockey Fort Saskatchewan Traders.
Oh, come on.
I have a story, or you have a story?
You gotta have like that is an amazing logo. It does look like the Oregon Trail. Hopefully
you have died from dysentery.
Hopefully, no hockey players died of dysentery.
You know, when I played, I really never put any thought into that was the Oregon Trail. I actually never even really thought about it. I thought maybe people are trading, but you're right. I don't think the Oregon Trail went through Fort Saskatchewan.
Probably not.
But I do have, you said that, I think I mentioned that he would want that. And I do have a fine jacket.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, look, I'm willing to trade you. You can get back in the camera shot if you want. Just I will trade you an Ice Caps hat, like an old Ice Caps hat here. That's because. Do you even have one of these? I'm sure you still have Ice Caps gear. Right?
I have Ice Caps stuff with some shirts that have the carrier. They were our sponsor on the back.
Oh, yes. I don't know. I feel like we can trade you something. So
for what? For
that Traders.
Well, I'll probably just get. Like, there's some stuff. My son came over the other day, and I actually pulled him out because we just moved to another location. I go, well, I got all that. And he was just, I can't believe you still have all this.
Oh,
and so I gave him a bunch of the stuff, and so he's got like the Topeka Scarecrow shirt from the training camp that year and things like that. But but I don't. Yeah, I have some Ice Cap stuff again that sits in. I got to go through it all. I thought one day I would have all this stuff up on my wall, but I don't really live in a house where we want that bonus room. I would love it, but
I framed Jacob's Learn to Play jersey back when he was 8. Nice. He's like, why did you do that? It's like, because whenever you get married, you can then, regale your spouse with, back in my youth hockey days, this is how it all started. He's like, Dad, you're a dork. I go, trust me. You're going to appreciate this one.
Cats in the cradle, Joey.
Yeah, exactly. Paul, we appreciate the time, man. I knew this conversation was going to go all sorts of places, but that's what I love about the podcast format. Appreciate you coming in. Next time, we'll have to talk about that time you ran into PK Subban, and Hurricanes fans will hate the fact that he's actually nice.
Will they?
I think they'll hate that.
I think he was great.
You saw him, and you talked to him for a bit, and Canes fans are like, "That's not possible."
Well, it also goes to the fact that there are people local that have programs that, like the guy I was with again runs the other program, and PK recognized him from years ago, 20 years, well, longer than that.
I was going to say longer than that.
And he was in his camp up in Toronto, and he recognized him immediately.
Unreal. Good stuff. All right, Paul, we appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
That was an enlightening conversation with Paul.
Yes.
I think you
took us around the world.
We really went around a lot of different places with Paul. But again, fascinating conversation nonetheless. Fascinating career, man. I called it a grind. I know he was kind of like, I enjoyed it. I'm like, but still, you really got to love it to go to all the places that he was playing hockey. So good conversation with him. Big thanks to the Butcher's Market. Check them out online at thebutchersmarkets.com. As I mentioned, the youth hockey stuff. I got practices starting up this week, Joe. We got games right around the corner. I'm back. Then we got football. But there's just not a lot of time, man. This is where the Butcher's Market comes in. They got prepared meals. Makes it super, super easy. They also have all your tailgate needs. The actual meats to put on the grill themselves, along with the seasoning, the sauces, even the pellets that you might need, the charcoal. They got all that stuff. So check them out, thebutchersmarkets.com. Maybe you don't have time to actually do a full-on tailgate setup. No big deal. Just drop on by a Butcher's Market location, get sandwiches, and you'll be good to go. The steak and cheese is phenomenal. Again, that's thebutchersmarkets.com. Big thanks to Hometown Realty. Maybe you love Butcher's Market so much that you want to live near one. make it super easy on yourself. Tell Hometown Realty, hey, what do I got to do to live next to a butcher's market? I was in Asheville last weekend. Hey, what do I got to do to get like a spot near one of my favorite breweries, right? They can answer these questions. Hit them up, myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. And of course, our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority, as Joe mentioned, we're hopefully getting to the time of the year where it's a little bit more enjoyable to be sitting outside and doing some grilling. To make it even more enjoyable, you make sure the mosquitoes are not bothering you. Heck, with all the rain that we've been getting, that stuff's going to be active.
Get a subscription plan, a total home and outside protection. And when they say total, they mean it. From termites to keeping those bugs away. Those monthly treatments are worth their weight in gold.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind all the termite equipment that you need. I mean, it's pays for itself.
So check them out, bugsbite.com. All right, let's get out of here with some Hey Joe. Again, big thanks to Brassfield Accounting for sponsoring Hey Joe. Check them out online, brassfieldaccounting.com. We got a text from an 828. Some ideas for pot stirring class of 2022 5-5 transfers, Go ACC edition. Seth Tremble, UNC to NC State.
Okay.
Mark Mitchell, Duke.
God.
Missouri.
I forgot he was still
to UNC. And obviously, Van Allen Lubin, Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, UNC, NC State. He wants Wake Forest. Hit 3 of the 4 Big Four schools.
Shouts to Steve Forbes. He was in Germany or Belgium.
I think it was Germany.
Last week, he was texting me.
Yeah.
He was very concerned about his level of clarity when he was texting me. And he woke up the next day and I'm like, buddy, I was drinking margaritas at 11.
We're good.
We're
good.
No worries.
And Cade Tyson.
Oh my Lord.
Belmont, UNC, Minnesota, Duke.
Is the true MVP of the 22 season still eligible somewhere? Dawson Garcia?
Oh, jeez. That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question.
Bring Brady Manick back
I
while
don't
we're
even
at
know.
it.
All right, one more from an hour now.
Hey, OG, got the ultimate summer protocols question here for you. What do you think of the current state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Is the MCU back? Namely, Ovies, I'm wondering what you thought of Daredevil Born Again Season 2 and the new Spider-Man movie.
Okay, I cannot speak to Daredevil, but I can speak to the new Spider-Man movie, Brand New Day. Went to the theater yesterday with the kids, with Kelly and the kids, to go see the new Spider-Man movie, which was very, very good. Brand New Day does an excellent job of essentially mashing 2 competing types of movies into one, a very tight needle you have to thread. It made it a Spider-Man movie with what you wanted of a Spider-Man movie, along with setting up some larger MCU implications. The movie just came out, so I don't want to spoil too much. But I thought they did an excellent job. And Tom Holland is he's a perfect Spider-Man.
The best.
He is a perfect Spider-Man. They are getting to the point now with him and Zendaya where they do look like a middle-aged married couple and no longer just out of college sweethearts. But you know what? We can look past that. Went to Alamo last night. And the reason why I went to Alamo is because, well, A, I like Alamo. Number one. 2, they do a good job in the pre-show of like setting the table for the movie you're about to watch with MCU stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because I'll admit, I've hit Giglio MCU protocols where I'm not watching them in order now. Yeah. I've just lost track. Yeah. Like I still need to see Thunderbolts. I was like, oh yeah, Florence Pugh's in here, the new Black Widow. She's in it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right. So she's here. You would appreciate her scenes, all things considered. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's right. There's like a new Avengers now, but I didn't see Thunderbolts. That sets up said new Avengers, right? I still haven't seen Fantastic Four, like the 8th iteration of Fantastic Four that's supposed to set up a lot of the stuff that's coming out with Doomsday.
Okay.
Later this year.
Okay.
So I've enjoyed both movies I saw recently. I went and saw Odyssey on Thursday and then Brand New Day on Sunday. Both movies were excellent, although it is kind of strange that I'm watching the Odyssey and there's Zendaya, but she's not MJ. She's Athena. Hey, There's the Punisher.
Historically inaccurate.
I know. Hey, there's the Punisher. Hey, there's Frank Castle, played by John Berthenol, I think the guy's name is, right? Who's an excellent actor. Wait a minute. Spider-Man and Punisher are also talking in the Odyssey because John Berthenol plays, I think that's how you pronounce the last name. He plays the brother of Amagemgon, or whatever the king's name was. Right? I know I'm probably cooking your brain because you, the historian, are getting mad at me butchering all these old Greek names. But you didn't take that version of history, did you? No. Okay, anyway. So yeah, it was just kind of weird. Like you're seeing all these superheroes like, hey, Anne Hathaway's in it. Oh, so Spider-Man's talking to Catwoman now. You see what superhero movies have done to you?
So Jackson went opening night Spider-Man, like at the midnight show.
Oh, the midnight show?
He came back. He was like, oh, it was really good. He's like, it introduces a bunch of characters I'm not really sure of. He's like, but
no. I mean,
well, he doesn't watch any of the X-Men stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So he's like, okay. So what you're getting at is like Punisher's in this movie, and they do introduce an X person into the, again, I don't want to spoil too much. That if you're not familiar with the X-Men, you're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
But yes, I enjoyed that.
I'm just curious.
They also had some Spider-Man villain deep cuts to start the movie.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see how we get to Dr. Doom and how is he Iron Man? How are they pulling this off?
Dude,
what are we doing?
I am with you.
That's what I'm fascinated about.
I am absolutely with you because the trailer was horseshit. It's just a bunch of people standing around,
right,
looking at each other and setting things up. You can also tell in the trailer these tricks don't work anymore for Avengers movies, because they'll like digitally remove people from the trailers to keep you spoiler free on certain characters. So like there's like one establishing shot where there's all these people standing around and it's obvious they have digitally removed at least 2 characters that they're trying to save for some reveal in the movie.
Gotcha.
Right. So I'm with you. I don't know how they're going to do this, although
like you're Tony Stark. No.
The guy who heads up the Marvel movies, Kevin Feige, he has said, y'all are acting like Thanos was a known quantity. He showed up for one post-credit scene and he said, I'll do it myself. And then he sat around and did nothing for 10 movies. So, and then all of a sudden, boom, here comes Thanos dropped into the movie and everybody loses your shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to drop Dr. Doom on you, like the same way we kind of dropped Thanos on you. Because if you think about it,
there's no new ideas.
Thanos didn't really do anything, for heaven's sake. He showed up once, really. I'll do it myself. And it took 10 years to finally see him do it for himself. Anyway.
We'll get Steve Rogers back too.
But which one?
But which one? He's not Captain America, apparently. He's just Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers just going back and Mr. Captain America going, so, I just let all the bad things happen. I know I'm Captain America. I get it. Civil rights movement, all that kind of stuff. People getting assassinated. Yeah, but hey, man, I'm slow dancing with my lady.
That's right.
Can't be bothered. All right. I did my time. Steve Rogers like, man, I did my time. Let me enjoy my time. Anyway,
I feel like this is going to lead me to watching more of the low-key, which I still couldn't figure out.
Don't, dude. Don't.
And you know what I haven't watched yet, which I probably will now in Giglio fashion?
Yeah.
I will watch this Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll go back and watch the one where he makes the Faustian bargain to get wiped out from the...
No.
I can't.
Don't do it.
I
can't.
will.
No,
I will.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Just don't go with me because I keep asking you, wait, what happened?
No.
I know he got erased from the universe, but...
Watch No Way Home, which is the movie before this.
No.
That came out like 4 years ago.
I'll watch that after I watch
this. But I'm serious.
Then I'll go back and watch it again.
That movie's good because it ties in all these things and you kind of need to have some of that base knowledge.
Again,
watch this one.
I watched the other one first.
All right.
What was not the last one?
You watched Infinity War
first.
And I was like, what?
Wilmer Thanos wins. That's the one I watched.
Yeah, Infinity War.
Then I watched the last one. What's the last one?
True. Endgame?
Endgame.
Yeah, you're a sicko.
Yeah.
Absolute sicko. So, yeah, you know what? You do you.
Yeah.
You do you. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We will see you all Wednesday from Wyndham.
Yes.
Very excited about that. See you all in Greensboro.